Mag Isidro, Sarmiento Cesar, Ong Emil, Magpuro Imelda, Alejandro Gary, Halusos Seth, Frederick, Karate Carlos Izagani, Albano Rodolfo. Nineteen members, Mr. Chair, responding to the board.
Chief, sir, excuse me lang po. Excuse me lang po.
The chair also directs the concept of the Peace and Reconciliation Committee to call the roll of its members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For the part of Special Committee on Peace, Reconciliation and Unity, Hataman Saliman Chief, Sakdalan Jesus, Lobregat Celso, Maginat Eddie Bronner, Yason Redondo, Sema Baisanga, Sahali Belmonte Jose Christopher, Rodriguez Maximo, Batawi Leopoldo, Hagedorn Douglas, Pagdilaw Samuel, Turabin Hataman City Chalia, Alejandro Gary, Loong Tupay, Katangko Nancy, Sakaluran Radel, Rodriguez Rufus, Melio Silvestre Belmont. There are 10 members who responded to the roll call, Mr. Chairman.
Just for the record, I would like to manifest that I have been deputized by the Speaker to be a member of this committee, and therefore I would provide the authorization to the Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, before I do the reaction, for the record also, we are going to call also the members who are being deputized, and may ask the COMSEC to call those that have been deputized by the members of this committee. Thank you.
Members deputized to the Committee on Public Order, Fariñas Rodolfo, Abaya Francis Gerald, Kimbo Federico, Evardone Ben, and Pakis Leia.
On the part of the Special Committee on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity, the deputized members are: for Speaker Feliciano Belmonte, Honorable Elpidio Barzaga; for Deputy Speaker Henedina Abad, Honorable Josephine Sato; for Majority Floor Neptali Gonzalez, Honorable Henry Owaminal; and for Senior Deputy Majority Leader George Bolet Manal, Honorable Ben Everdone; and for Deputy Minority Leader Carol Jaime Lopez, Honorable Leia Pakis. There are 5 deputized members, Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Congressman.
Will the record also please reflect that this representation is present here in today's hearing in his capacity as Deputy Speaker and ex-officio member of both committees? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very
Mr.
much,
Chairman.
Congressman.
Mr. Chairman,
Deputy Speaker Apostol, you're recognized.
may I just make it a record that as a regular member of this committee, because deputy speakers are all regular members of the committee, that I am present.
Thank you very much. Please,
Members
and yes, Congressman Pagdilaw.
Unless
we're
the,
not yet finished with our roll call, and some of the members and leaders of this house we will recognize later after the roll call.
Yeah, I just want to
And,
bring to the attention of
and
the
also,
committee, Mr. Chair.
After this, we will recognize the presence of our Speaker of the House, Speaker Belmonte, and our minority leader, Sir Congressman Zamora. Kaya, present. They are present. Sa committee. Then, 19 total. Total. Okay na total.
That's fine.
And 19 members of the Special Committee on Peace, Reconciliation, and Unity, responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Congressman Pagdilaw.
may I now move for the approval of the minutes of our previous meeting held last February 11, and at the same time dispense with its reading, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion to approve the minutes on our first hearing and duly seconded. Is there an objection?
No, Mr. Chair, just
Yes.
query. The minutes were just submitted today, so if we could be given time to go through it and then we can approve it tomorrow, Mr. Chair, that would be possible.
If that will take a few minutes, then I think it. Can we not go over as we go along if there are some comments or any suggestions with regards to that?
Yeah,
Can
okay.
we just ask
Can
the
we just
consent?
approve it later during the day so we can, because if we suspend to
Okay,
take the minute, it will take time, Mr. Chairman.
There is a motion. Is there any objection to that? Is that an objection or that's a suggestion?
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, I object. I
There's-
object in that sense, Mr. Chair, because we don't even have a copy of the minutes here. At least Congressman Lobregat has a copy. So if you are going to call for a vote, we
Mr.
will
Chair?
object, Mr. Chair.
Yes,
May I be acknowledged?
Congressman.
Since this representation raised as a motion the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting without and dispensing with the reading, I now amend such motion.
Yes.
The motion now will be to dispense with the approval of the minutes so that we can proceed with our proceedings with
Okay,
our Mr.
is there any objection to the amendment of the motion of the Honorable Pagdilaw? There being none, let's proceed with the meeting. Thank you. Motion is approved.
The chair requests the COMSEC to please acknowledge the presence of our distinguished House members and guests and resource person.
The presence of the following members is hereby acknowledged. The Speaker of the House, the Honorable Belmonte, Deputy Majority Leader Arthur Defensor Jr., Minority Leader Ronaldo Zamora, Senior Deputy Minority Leader Nery Colmenares, Rep. Luz Biminda Ilagan, Rep. Mahmoud Dadatu, Rep. Antonio Tino, Rep. Emmy De Jesus, Rep. Terry De Ridon, Rep. Carlo Nograles, Rep. Baby Arenas, Rep. Amang Magsaysay, Rep. Ferdinand Hernandez, Rep. Fernando Hicap, Rep. Silvestre Bello, and Rep. Kimi Kawang. Yes. I'm sorry, Rep. Edgar Erice. Rep. Kit Belmonte, Rep. Cesar Sarmiento, Victor Yu, the presence of the following resource persons and guests is hereby acknowledged. From the Department of Interior and Local Government, Secretary Mar Rojas. From the Department of National Defense, Secretary Voltaire Gasmin. From the Office of the Presidential Advisor on the Peace Process, Secretary Teresita Quintos Deles. From the Armed Forces of the Philippines, General Gregorio Pio Ponsalan Katapang, Lieutenant General Rustico Guerrero, Major General Edmundo Pangilinan, Brigadier General Carlito Galvez, Brigadier General Manolito Orense, Director General Cesar Garcia from the National Security Advisor, and from the National Intelligence Coordinating Office, from the Philippine National Police, Police Director General Alan Purisima, Director General Leonardo Espina, Police Director Benjamin Magalong, Chairman of the Board of Inquiry, Director Getulio Napeñas, in attendance also another House member, Rep. Marcy Teodoro.
To the members of the House of Representatives, thank you for your presence. And to the invited guests and resource person, thank you very much for your presence. Colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Before we go any further, the chair would like to make an appeal. The result of our hearing dated February 11, 2015 has caused varying reactions to the public, from the public. We are accused of grandstanding, chaotic conduct during the proceedings, and non-observance of proper decorum. Even your chairman was not spared of comments from people who are not well versed of our rules. Criticisms, after all, are part of public service. But we, however, have families who are affected by these criticisms, and it is difficult to see them suffer. Consequently, your chair personally appeals for your cooperation in order to change the negative impressions of this institution as created in the minds of the public. The chair suggests that, if possible, we avoid questioning our own rules of procedure. For it is we who crafted these rules. These rules were not meant to give advantage to anyone, but only to facilitate the orderly proceedings and to inquire our questions. To our inquiries serve the purpose. The chair assures that every member of this committee will be given a chance to speak. All I ask is patience in waiting for each one's turn. the chair suggests that if possible, we observe proper decorum in benefiting the stature of this institution. These agreements are part of every hearing, but they should be raised with utmost respect to our colleagues' sensitivities. By doing this, we can show the public that we are worthy members of the House of Representatives. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. I join my colleague, Congressman Jeffrey P. Ferrer, Chair of the Committee on Public Order, in welcoming you to the resumption of the House inquiry on the Mamasapano incident. I am delighted that our colleagues have managed to find the time to attend this legislative inquiry despite the fact that Congress is presently in a long recess. That being said, let me extend my apologies to our colleagues for consuming a portion of your time on our legislative recess, which is usually spent for constituency work in our respective districts. The resumption of this joint committee hearing highlights the transcendental importance of this inquiry to our national government's primordial agenda to forge a peace agreement with the Moro Islamic Liberation Front in Muslim Mindanao. Undoubtedly, this single and exceptional incident not only undermined the gains of the peace-building efforts of our government, but also inadvertently expose a gap in the institutional mechanisms of the peace process to ensure a stable security situation in Mindanao. It is therefore our duty to find the cause of this gap and provide solutions to plug it, for we cannot forge a credible peace agreement when mistrust on both sides of the peace table is high. We are well aware of the results of the parallel investigations that have been conducted by the Senate and the Philippine National Police. And we feel that there are still questions that have been left unanswered and continue to linger in the probing minds of our people. However, it is not our intention to supplant or challenge the results of this investigation. We do not want to add yet another layer of confusion. We can only hope that our inquiry will be able to elicit more facts and clarify uncertainties in the respective reports which incidentally are already of public knowledge. We also feel that it is now an opportune time to continue this House inquiry when emotions have subsided and where we can proceed to fulfill our duties with greater sobriety, fairness, and objectivity. Admittedly, our first hearing fell short of the people's expectation when we allowed our unbridled passion to get over our sense of decorum. Let us not allow that to happen again. Let us prove to our countrymen the importance and necessity of this inquiry to help ensure the rendition of justice to all victims, and not to unwittingly stoke the flames of retribution or revenge. I am therefore appealing to our colleagues to be more discerning in putting forward their concerns and questions in order to ensure an orderly proceeding. We will strictly enforce rules, particularly on time limitation, in order to give ample opportunity for all members to propound questions. We also appeal to you not to ask repetitive questions, to enable us to cover more grounds and to avoid giving undue burden to our guests and resource persons. Certainly, there are many things that need to be improved, and this should be in place and observed not only for today, but in the succeeding hearings. Let me emphasize that while the House of Representatives has the duty and authority to proceed with and conclude this investigation, our ultimate objective would be to ensure the credibility, fairness, and independence of our proceedings. Remember that our nation's eyes are upon us and that the manner by which we will conduct this inquiry will reflect not only upon our individual credibility as legislators, but more importantly, to the integrity of the House of Representatives as an institution. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wal barakatuh.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair?
Before the chair would recognize representative, I would like to continue with some reminders on the procedure of this meeting.
But Chairman Saliman, before you proceed, I would like to acknowledge the presence of Deputy Speaker Balindong and Congressman Kimbo. And also Congresswoman
Just a few some reminders to the members of this committee, two committees. First is to continue list of the interpolators from previous meeting. And second, if a member on the list is called but is not present, she or he forfeits his place in the list. If she will come later, he or she will have to enlist again. If there is time when we have a second round, there will be a fresh list and we shall give preference to committee members. When another member has questions related to the points of query of current interpolator, the member must wait for his turn to speak. We shall give each member uninterrupted 5 minutes to ask questions. Gentlemen's agreement. When interpellation is finished in less than 5 minutes, the 5-minute time is considered consumed. Appeal to the members, waiver of time in favor of another colleague is not encouraged. We will have a bell that is going to be ring. When the bell rings, it is a signal that the current interpellator has 1 last minute to propound questions. That's the bell. That's the bell. Also, on the rules, just a reminder, all questions, comments, motions should be directed to the chair. If you wish to speak, please wait to be recognized by the chair. In order to use the time of all attendees as effectively as possible, we will strictly enforce the 5-minute rules allocation without interruption. Any unused time shall be, of course, that had been mentioned already. Any member who has said the floor once during a debate may not have it again while the same issue is being debated. If there is any member who has not a chance to speak, then members may seek the floor a second time. Only members of the committee can make motions. When a motion is adopted or lost, a member who voted with the majority may move for its consideration. Only one motion for reconsideration shall be allowed. Section 1 around. A member of which the author of a bill is a resolution referred to as a committee, or if there are several authors, the first author's name in the bill or resolution, or their duly designated co-authors, as the case may be, shall be considered as members of the committee for referral for the purpose and throughout the duration of the consideration of said bill or resolution, but shall have no vote in the committee. Thank you. That's a reminder.
Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair? Mr. Chair?
Yes, the Honorable Tino.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To Chairman Ferrer and Chairman Hataman Saliman, noong March 30 po ay nagpadala ako kasama ni Congressman Hiccup ng Anak Pawis ng komunikasyon sa Joint Committee na hinihiling na imbitahin si Pangulong Aquino sa hearing na ito upang sumagot ng 20 tanong. At kalakip po dun sa sulat, yung 20 tanong hinggil sa kaalaman ni Pangulong Aquino at sa naging papel niya sa mga pangyayari sa Mamasapano. So, maaari po ba, Mr. Chair, malaman kung anong aksyon ang nagawa na o gagawin ng Joint Committee hinggil sa aming kahilingan, yung formal na request po na imbitahin si Pangulong Aquino?
Sa kasagutan sa kagalang-galang na tinyo, nabasa ko po yung sulat na naka-address kay Chair Ferrer. And consistent with our first ruling during the first hearing that we had, and if we remember it right, we already have voted unanimous majority of those members that are present at that time na hindi po natin pwedeng imbitahin si Presidente. At napagbotohan na po natin yung motion na yon, at natandaan ko may succeeding motion na ang kagalang-galang natin yon na ni-raise again at that time at nagrulang chair. Again, consistent with this, ang napagkasunduan namin dalawa ay pareho po sa ruling na binigay namin noon sa first hearing natin. Maraming salamat.
Mr. Chair, well, naintindihan ko po nung panahon ng unang hearing, may mga specific question po noon na pinagmulan ng motion para imbitahin si Pangulo. Pero marami na pong nangyari mula nung panahon yon, maraming mga developments. At kung mamarapatin niyo po, babasahin ko lang mga salita mismo ni Pangulong Aquino, no? Hinggil sa
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Hinggil sa
Point of order, Mr. Chair. We have a list of congressmen who will ask questions, and Congressman Tino has taken his time during the last hearing, Mr. Chair.
Before the other members could, if I may remind the Honorable Tino, na yung pong mga questions, una-una na basa po ng marami na ng members ng House at particularly itong committee na ito, tingin ko po hindi na natin kailangan i-expound. At again, may I reiterate na yung ruling po ng chair base po sa mga nakaraan na rulings, dahil ang nakita natin ang first motion na ni-raise nung kagalang-galang na Colmenares ay upang pasagutin ang ating presidente. At unanimous, karamihan po sa atin ay bumoto na hindi natin imbitahin ng presidente. At ngayon, yung the same, yung intention po ay upang tanungin at pasagutin natin ang ating presidente. The chairs again reiterated that we will the same rule that na hindi po natin pwede imbitahin ng ating presidente. Maraming salamat.
Mr. Chair, si
Mr.
Pangulong Aquino mismo po ang nagsabi, imbis na magtanong sa akin,
Mr. Chair,
ay
Mr. Chair,
naglagay
point of
ng
order,
spekulasyon
point of order, Mr. Chair.
ang mga
In
gumawa
order to
ng
provide
ulat.
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Marisaka is
Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I have been recognized.
yes.
Thank you very much for recognizing this representation. Well, the issue being presented by the Makabayan Bloc, that is whether or not the President has to appear before today's hearing or to answer the 20 questions which were published in the newspaper would be of transcendental importance. Requiring the President to appear here or even to answer the questions would create far-reaching consequences which would affect the very foundations of our democracy and that would be the separation of power as well as the basic rule of co-equality among the three branches of the government, namely the judiciary, the judiciary, the executive, and the House. I have been a member of this House since 2007. There are various instances wherein RTC judges have been invited by the various committees to appear in our investigation in aid of legislation. And the Supreme Court, through each court administrator, is always saying that we do not have the right to require judges, justices, to appear in our investigation invoking separation of power as well as independence of the judiciary.
Mr. Chairman,
May I be permitted to complete my answer?
Yes, the Honorable Barisaga is still recognized, and if other members would like to comment, please address the chair. Thank you.
Okay. We have a Senate investigation insofar as the Mamasapano incident is concerned. And yet, the Senate knows the basic principle. They did not invite the President. Even Vice President Binay was invited by the Senate. And when Vice President Binay did not attend, no sanction or no action was taken by the Senate. If we would require the President right now to appear or even to answer, then Congress would be the most powerful body among the three co-equal branches of the government because it creates a dangerous precedent. It becomes a precedent that future presidents, on the basis of what we are doing right now, would also be compelled. Even justices of the Supreme Court in the future would be compelled because there is no reason why the number one elected public official has the obligation, and yet the Supreme Court would not be appearing before our investigation. Even us, we have the parliamentary courtesy. Members of Congress, congressmen, are not required to appear in our hearings, not even in the Senate. If the number one elected official would be required to appear, then there is no reason why other elected officials like congressmen and senators would be appearing before our congressional investigation. That is a very dangerous precedent. There would be repercussions. Thank you very much.
Well,
Mr. Chair,
before
Mr. Chair.
the Honorable Agabao,
Mr. Chair, my name was mentioned. May I make a brief reply, Mr. Chair? My name was mentioned.
The Honorable Sarate is raising
Mr. Chairman.
the Honorable Sarate is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Naintindihan po naman natin yung sinabi ni Congressman Barsaga na meron nga tayong separation of powers. Kaya po ang hinihilinga ng Makabayan Black ay imbitahan natin si Presidente Aquino dahil siya na rin yung mismo nagsabi nung kanyang pambansang pakikipagtalumpati sa ating mamamayan na hindi siya tinanong man lang ng BOI. No, kahit nagpasabi sila kay Secretary Rojas, hindi raw napagsabihan ni Secretary Rojas si Presidente Aquino. Kaya ito yung pagkakataon na gusto nating maibigay sa Pangulo upang straight sagutin niya itong mga tanong ng mga kasamahan natin at nung 12 tanong na inihain na namin sa komite. Yun po yung pagkakahulugan ng sulat. Hindi ho natin nire-require. No? That's only an invitation. It's for the President to respond to that invitation and answer the questions, the 20 questions under oath. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, may I raise a point of order? May I raise a point of order, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, what is the point
Mr.
of
Chairman,
order? Congressman Agabao.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. In response to the query from the Honorable Tino, the chairman made a ruling with respect to the set of questions presented before this committee. That is the initial ruling of this body as reflected by the chairman. Now, may I know if the Honorable Tino is appealing that ruling? If he is appealing, then he should say so that we can openly debate on that, no? But there is a procedure to debate on that. So my query, Mr. Chairman, is this. Is the gentleman from ACT teacher appealing the ruling of this chair so that we can debate on it?
Mr. Chair, if I may.
Yes, the Honorable Tino would like to react on the statement of on the point of order that was raised by the Honorable Agabao.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I conferred with the Honorable Colmenares and he would like to make a proposal regarding the 20 questions, Mr. Chair.
No, please do answer the point of order that was raised by
Mr.
the
Chair,
Honorable.
just
Yes,
let's
Honorable.
find a halfway measure here. Gusto natin matuloy ito, let's find a halfway measure here. Tama, we're just in fact giving the President an opportunity to answer. Invitation yon. Pag congressman may imbita sa Malacanang, it's not a violation of the equal branches of government. Pero now, Mr. Chair, ito ang aking compromise, Mr. Chair. We've sent a questionnaire to Malacanang and the committee. And we would just ask, instead of invitation na lang, that the President answer in a written form the questions, the 20 questions, and any other question that members of the committee would ask. We will no longer ask if the committee so thinks that it's bad to merely invite the President. At least we can send the written questions. And I heard last night, Mr. Chair, in fact, Malacanang is open to answering in a written form the 20 questions and other questions. So
Thank you, Ms.
I move, Mr. Chair, that we send
Thank you,
a letter
the
to
Honorable
Malacanang.
Colmenares. The points that you are raising had already been answered by the chair.
No, Mr.
But
Chair,
there
this
is
is different,
a
Mr.
point of
Chair.
order that was raised by the Honorable Agabao. If the Honorable Tino is appealing the motion, is the Honorable Tino appealing on so that also the chair could decide on the matter.
Mr. Chair, I did not make a motion. I made an inquiry.
Yes,
And
I already
received
have
an answer.
answered that, and
Yes.
are you appealing the ruling of the chair?
I have
Well,
made a motion, Mr. Chair. I have made the motion just now. I move that we send the written questions to Malacanang and that the President is requested to answer in a written form the questions, Mr. Chair, the 20 questions and any other questions that the committee would ask. That is a very reasonable compromise, Mr. Chair. I so move, Mr. Chair, that this committee vote on that motion, Mr.
Before
Chair.
I
second
could
that,
ask,
Mr. Chair.
if I may, the chair
Mr.
would
Chairman.
like to reiterate the answer. I already have ruled that in line with the intention of questioning the President, the chair already ruled. The first motion that was raised nung pong last meeting natin is to invite
Yes.
the President and question him.
Yes.
The same thing itong sulat, pareho po ng intention.
Magkaiba
The
po, hindi
question,
siya
pareho po ng
imbitahin po.
intention. Gusto nating tanungin ang Presidente. The same thing. Gusto ko pong i-rule, consistent with the first ruling, na napagbotohan na po natin ito at overwhelmingly bumoto yung majority House member ng committee na ito na hindi po natin iimbitahin at hindi po rin natin tatanungin ang Presidente.
Yes. Salamat
Maraming
po. I
salamat.
appeal the
So
ruling
kung
of the
meron
chair.
pong
I
appeal,
appeal the ruling of the chair, Mr. Chair.
So,
At sana po,
point of order, Mr. Chairman.
reasonable naman
Point
po
of
ang
order.
motion. Sana ipadala natin. Let the President decide whether or not to answer
1
this
minute
question, Mr.
suspension.
Chair.
No, okay.
Uh, can we now proceed with the committee hearing? Yes, there is an appeal from the Honorable Colmenares.
On the written question,
on
Mr.
the written
no
question.
longer inviting the president, just the
And
written question.
there is a point of order that is going. The Honorable Barisaga is recognized.
Well, for the benefit of for the benefit of everybody, I want just to state that when an issue pertaining to point of order is concerned, there must be a violation of the rules of the House. And inasmuch as I have invoked a point of order, it presupposes that there has been a violation of our rules. And the rule violated was no other than Section 40 of Rule 9. Under Section 40 of Rule 9, under the caption reconsideration, and I quote, when a measure is adopted or lost, a member of the committee who voted with the majority may vote for its reconsideration during the same meeting or on the same or succeeding day after the meeting, in which case the motion for reconsideration shall be made in writing. Only one motion for reconsideration shall be allowed. And therefore, in this particular case, while it is the second day of hearing, as starting April 11, nonetheless, the motion for reconsideration or the appeal will be in violation of our rules because it was not in writing, and secondly, the movant was not part of the majority who approved the motion. Well,
Mr.
in
Chair.
any event, Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Chair,
if
I'm
they want
not
to-
moving for
May I be
reconsideration.
permitted to complete? In any event, Mr. Chair, I'm willing to waive this rule if we can waive it legally in the interest of liberality and discuss further the motion.
Well, if I may hear again the Honorable
Yes, thank you,
Colmenares
Mr. Chair. I'm
before,
not asking for reconsideration of the previous motion that we invite the President. This is a new motion. To compromise naman tayo dito lang. Ang motion po, ipadala sa komite, sa Malacanang, ang mga katanungan, yun lang, para sagutin lang ni Presidente in a written form. We are no longer inviting him. It was duly seconded, so the motion is live, Mr. Chair. And we
Mr.
ask
Chair,
for a
I
vote.
object to the motion. Imagine, Mr. Chair, if 200 congressmen will be sending questions to the
wait
President.
for the Honorable Colmenares to finish his statement before any comment from any other members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hindi na ako magpahaba kasi gusto nating matuloy ang hearing. This is a very important prejudicial issue.
Yes,
At Presidente mismo ang humingi na gusto niyang sumagot. So, the House would be not respecting its constitutional duty to hear this case without sending that letter of questions, Mr. Chair. So, I so move that the committee decide to send these questions to the President, Mr. Chair, and ask for a written reply
may I
from the
recognize the
President.
Honorable Elisa.
Mr. Chair, I object to the motion
objection
of
also. I object
Representative Colmenares
So-
simply because gusto lang pong hiyain ng Pangulo. Imagine kung 200
That is
congressman
extraneous to
ang
the debate.
magtatanong sa Pangulo,
Mr. Chair, ito
magpapadala
yung nanggugulo.
ng sulat.
Ito yung
May
gulo
suspension.
dito, Mr. Chair, eh. Parang biglang nagkagulo dahil may mga
1 minute
insinuation.
suspension.
It's a very reasonable motion, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman,
Nag-compromise na nga ako, Mr. Chair, tapos pahiyain pa ang
1
President.
minute
Chairman.
suspension po. 1 minute suspension. 1 minute suspension. Okay, let's proceed with the meeting. May appeal po doon sa letter ni Honorable ng Makabayan Black sa at may motion si Honorable Colmenares. Binibigyan may objection din po si Honorable Erisen. So with Congressman Fariñas, binibigyan ko po ng magkabilang panig ng 4 minutes para ipaliwanag yung motion at sagutin din yung magkabilang panig.
Ako po, hindi na po ako
Mr.
tatagal
Chairman.
kasi we want to go straight to the hearing.
Mr. Chairman,
Ang sinasabi
may we
ko
hear?
lang, the President is or has mentioned, gusto niyang sagutin, sinisi niyang BOI, hindi niya malang ako inimbita. Ngayon, this Congress is bound to give that President the chance to answer. So the motion stands, Mr. Chair. Hindi na ako magpahaba ng 4 minutes. That is the position of
Chair,
the Makabayan Bloc, Mr. Chair.
Remind the members of this committee that we are not liberated with our rules. Since for the sake of unity, the chair allows you to discuss this issue.
Mr. Chairman, may we
The
request for a clear
President called
statement
the
of the
Senate
parliamentary
report
status,
as
Mr. Chairman.
speculation, Mr. Chair. We don't want the President to call this congressional hearing a speculation also because we refused to invite him. Binira niya ang Senado, hindi niya walang kung tinanong. Tapos ngayon, pahayaan natin ang sarili natin na mabira din, masisi ng Presidente later on. You didn't even give me an opportunity. This is a very reasonable motion, Mr. Chair. Hindi na nga nag-i-invite, Mr. Chair. So, I hope our colleagues in the majority would not put this to a vote. Simple lang naman, ipadala lang ang questions and let the President decide whether to answer or not, especially since sinabi niya ng kagabi ng Malacanang, we're willing to reply in a written form, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Any reaction from the
Mr. Chair,
opposing side?
yes, may I explain my objection? Mr.
Your
Chair,
Honorable Erisen.
it would really be impossible if 200 congressmen will be allowed to ask questions to the President. Hindi lang naman ng Makabayan Bloc ang Kongreso. Kung papayagan sila magpadala ng 20 questions, ano makakapigil sa bawat isa dito sa Kongreso na ito na magpadala rin ng tigda 20 katanungan? At ito po ay panghihiya lamang sa ating Pangulo. Hindi pa po tapos ang ating hearing. Wala pa tayong mga conclusions. We have invited speakers, resource persons here. Bakit hindi muna natin tanungin sila? After we concluded with the investigation, then maybe that's the time to fill the gap. If there's a need to ask question to the President, I think that's the time to ask question. Pero ngayon, hindi pa naman tapos ang ating hearing. Andito nga yung mga resource persons, baka yung mga tanong na gusto tanong ng Makabayan Bloc, ngayon pa lang masagot na ng mga resource person natin.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you,
Ang
Mr.
tanong,
Chair.
for example, Mr. Chair, bakit mo hinayaan, first question, bakit mo hinayaan ang isang suspendidong general na mamahala sa operasyon?
May I-
None of the resource persons can answer that.
May I
Mr.
remind
Chair, I call
the-
for a vote na lang, Mr. Chair.
May I remind the Honorable Colmenares before reacting to any statement by others, do please ask the chairman
Apologize,
to
Mr.
get
Chair.
recognized.
Apologize.
Anyway, the Honorable Pariñas
Mr.
is
Chairman, may I be
recognized
recognized?
to
Mr.
give a
Chairman.
statement.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
that,
may I be
I am
recognized?
allowed to
Yes,
explain
the Honorable Defensor.
the floor.
Mr. May we have a clear statement of the parliamentary status, Mr. Chairman? Because to my knowledge, the parliamentary status is that earlier, the Congressman Colmenares raised a matter of collective privilege which pertains to the powers of the committee to send questions to Malacanang. So the ruling of the chair was in the negative. Congressman Colmenares appealed the ruling of the chair. In the interim, the Honorable Barzaga raised a point of order because he said you cannot move for reconsideration of a ruling that was already made during the previous hearing because according to Congressman Barzaga, Congressman Colmenares was moving for a reconsideration instead of a motion. So may we first request for a ruling on the point of order raised by Congressman Barzaga and then for a ruling on the appeal, and if not, we can vote on the appeal, then we can proceed, Mr. Chairman. We
I
need
agree,
a clear
Mr. Chair.
statement of the parliamentary status so that we can proceed, Mr. Chairman. That's the only way we can proceed in
The
an orderly
parliamentary
manner.
status is that yung pong motion ni Congressman Colmenares na i-appeal yung letter na kung pwede ipadala sa Malacanang, and the chair rules that we already have agreed on that on the previous meeting. But even then, dahil gusto nga natin matuloy na yung pinagbibigyan po natin ng both sides kasi may nag-object doon sa motion. So ang po dito is that kung tapos na po yung bawat isa, yung opposing sides na magbigay ng statement,
Tapos na po.
hindi po natin pwedeng yung rules, hindi po pwede natin hindi pagbobotohan. Kailangan po natin pagbobotohan dahil may opposing sides.
Then I move
So
for
with
vote,
that,
Mr. Chair.
then I move for the votation of the motions that had been moved by the Honorable Colmenares.
Mr. Chairman,
The motion,
my objection. May I explain my objection?
yes, the Honorable Fariñas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kasi po, napaka-importanteng bagay po ito na medyo hindi natin napapansin na mabuti. They want to ask questions to the President. Hindi po pwede yan eh. Under our present Constitution and jurisprudence, the President cannot be made to answer any question except through impeachment. Kasi po ang Presidente may immunity from suit po yan eh. Kaya mali rin po yung BOI pati na gustong tanungin si Presidente, hindi po pwedeng imbestigahan ng sino si Presidente. Ang pwede lamang po magtanong sa Pangulo ay ang House of Representatives sa impeachment po. Kasi po, ang Presidente mag-isa po yan eh. That's why, while in office, he cannot be sued. Maski husgado po, hindi pwedeng padalhan ng supir, ni hindi nga po pwedeng idemanda eh. Halimbawa, gusto mo ihapla si Pangulo, maghahapla ka. I-dismiss ka agad ng husgado yan dahil kung mananagot po ang Pangulo sa bawat reklamo ng isang mamayan, hindi na siya makakapagtrabaho. Dahil siya po nagpapatupad sa lahat ng batas ng buong bansa. He is one chief executive. So, halimbawa, may nasagasaan dyan, may nabagyo rito, idedemanda si President. Not even the courts, with its compulsory process of subpoena, can require the President to answer. Subukan po ninyo, doon po sa isang kaso na rubriko, gusto pong i-writ of amparo ang Presidente. Dahil sabi po nila, sa kasulukuyang saligang batas, wala na ngayon yung immunity from suit of the President. Ano po sabi ng Supreme Court? 2 minutes lang po ito para maliwanagan po ito. Napaka-importante po ito. Sabi po ng Supreme Court, the petitioners are mistaken dahil ang kanilang teorya po, wala nang immunity ang suit from the President. So sabi ng Supreme Court dito po sa kaso ng anak ng Mindanao, Quaresma, ito po ang rubrico versus the CA. Ang sabi po ng Supreme Court, petitioners are mistaken. The presidential immunity from suit remains preserved under our system of government, albeit not expressly reserved in the present Constitution. Addressing a concern of his co-members in the 1986 Constitutional Commission on the matter, Father Bernas observed that it was already understood in jurisprudence that the President may not be sued during his or her tenure. The court subsequently made it abundantly clear in David versus Macapagal Arroyo, a case likewise resolved under the umbrella of the 1987 Constitution. Ito po sinabi ng Supreme Court. Settled is the doctrine that the President, during his tenure of office or actual incumbency, may not be sued in any criminal or civil case, and there is no need to provide for it in the Constitution or law. It will degrade the dignity of the high office of the President, the head of state, if he can be dragged into court litigations while serving as such. Furthermore, it is important that he be freed from any form of harassment, hindrance, or distraction to enable him to fully attend to the performance of his official duties and functions. Unlike the legislative and judicial branch, only one constitutes the executive branch, and anything which impairs his usefulness in the discharge of the many great and important duties of the imposed upon him by the Constitution necessarily impairs the operation of government. So sa madalit salita po, hindi po natin pwedeng pasagutin si Presidente kasi po, sabi na nga ni Kong Erice, sa dami po ng committee, kung lahat po magtatanong sa Presidente, hindi na po makakapagtrabaho yan. So paliwanag po yan. Whether we write to him a letter, whether we summon him, we cannot do it. Not even the courts can do it. So let's make that very clear. Hindi po natin pwedeng gawin.
Thank you, Honorable Parinas.
Chair.
Before po na
Mr. Chair.
before po nagsasalita pa po yung chairman, before po na nagsalita si Honorable Parinas, the chair had already decided na pagbobotohan na po natin yung motion. And then with that, any other comments, saka na po pagkatapos ng botohan. So, sino po yung pabor doon sa motion ni
We just have to clarify who can vote, ha?
Yes.
Sinong pwedeng bumoto, sinong hindi, sinong member ng committee.
Wes, ang malinaw po kanina, first, yung member lang ng committee at saka yung deputized, no? Ex officio. Second is that hiwalay yung botohan. First is yung public law and order, and second is yung Peace and Reconciliation Committee. So mauna po yung public law and order. Thank you.
May I clarify
Mr.
the
Chair,
motion?
Mr. Chair, before we proceed, can I just make a manifestation? I wanted to do this much earlier, but parang we're going so fast. Can we please acknowledge the presence of the SAF widows and family? They are here, and I think we failed to do so when we were introducing our resource people. I think it's but proper to mention and recognize their presence. Thank you po.
Okay. Para matapos na. Okay. Wala
Mr.
kaming
Chair,
list.
you don't...
Wala kaming list. We
as
would
a-
like to
I think
acknowledge
it would-
the presence of the widows.
Mr. Chair, I think it would be easy to say the families and the widows of the SAF 44.
After the votation. Kindly, Congressman
Ang
Colmenares,
motion
kindly,
po ni
repeat your
Honorable
motion.
Colmenares ay yung appeal na kung pwede po ipadala yung sulat, and yung questions na 20 question, at nag-object po si Honorable Erice at Farinas, so the chair decided that to put into votation. So the first to vote is
Clarification, Mr. Chairman.
the first to vote is the public law and order, and the next is the
Public safety.
public
Clarification,
safety.
Order
Mr.
and
Chairman,
safety.
regarding the motion. Kasi ang motion ba, ipadadala lang kay Pangulo yung sulat? O kailangan ipadala yung sulat, kinakailangan sagutin ni Pangulo, at kung sasagutin ni Pangulo, yung bang sagot ay under oath. And that is the clarification which we want, because we
The
are
motion
voting
is
on a very
the
important
committee
mission.
send the list of questions and request, if possible, the President can reply. Of course, it's the decision of the President whether to reply to all or some or none at all. But at least the committee has fulfilled its function. Ganun lang po kasimple ang motion. And I really hope this is not a suit. In David versus Arroyo, the Supreme Court said na the President is immune from civil and criminal charges. This is not a criminal charge. This is not a civil charge. So this is a simple asking of a list of answers to a list of questions. Yun lang po kasimple. And I really hope that the committee will rule in favor of the power of this House, the constitutional power to hear this case, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Congressman Colmenares. On the part of public order and safety, who's in favor of the motion, please stand up. The
Mr.
members
Chair.
of the public order and safety who are in favor of the motion to send the question, to write the question, or to answer the question, send to Malacanang. Please rise.
Mr. Chair.
Those who are against the motion, please rise. Members of the Committee on Public Order and Safety. Thank you very much. Those against have it on the part of Committee on Public Order and Safety.
On the part
The
of
motion is lost.
the
On the
part of the Special Committee on Peace and Reconciliation and Unity. Those who are in favor of the motion of the Honorable Colmenares, please rise. And those who are against, the member of the Special Committee on Peace and members. Those who are against, those who are against.
Those who are against. Oh,
Those who are against.
Mr. Chair, dalawang boto kasi I'm a member of both eh.
Ah, you
Ganun
can.
ba yun? So I
Ah.
can still stand. Okay. Count me positive.
Okay, the ayes have it. Thank you. 14 is on the negative and 3 on the positive. Thank you. The motion is lost.
Thank you,
May I
Mr.
now
Chair.
turn over again the chair to the Honorable Ferrer.
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair.
Before we continue, we will acknowledge the presence of the widows of SAP 44. Kindly stand up. Relatives. Thank you very much. And also, the presence of Congressman Tambunting and Congressman Lanete and also Congressman Batocabe. Now let's proceed with
Mr.
our
Chairman,
hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I'm also present, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chair.
Yes, Congressman, you are recognized. And also,
Mr. Chair.
yes, after you. No. Yes, Congressman Lubrigat.
We were just, we finished voting on the issue of inviting the president. We would have wanted to not have a vote because that is divisive. Because anyway, the president really has executive privilege. And I'm sure Malacanang is watching. And if Malacanang wants to send any answer, it is the president's prerogative. But anyway, we have voted. But I would like to call to the attention of the committee that there are other invited guests that do not have executive privilege. And they are not present today. One of them is Professor Miriam Ronel Ferrer, whose presence is very, very important in this hearing and the subsequent hearing. So may I know from OPAP what is the reason? And I don't think we should have any excuse. And I will go on to the other list, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, the Honorable.
Your Honor, she is coming. She just had to finish one engagement. She is coming.
Okay. Mr. Chair, another invited guest was Honorable Iqbal, the chairman of the MILF panel, the Bangsamoro Transition Committee. I do not think he is present today. In fact, when the Senate conducted its hearings on the first and even the second day, almost all the senators made an issue of the non-presence of the MILF. And other invited guests that the Secretary did not read the name. I don't know if they are here. They might be here, but I think Colonel Feliciano, Colonel De Rosario, Police Superintendent, Senior Superintendent Mendez, Police Senior Sir Henrik Magalang, Magalang, the commandant of the 4th Battalion. Also, we have invited Police Inspector Raymond Train, Police Senior Inspector Abellera, Police Senior Inspector Lyndon Espe, PO2 Lloyd Ensoy, SPO2 Tebeng, PO2 Lalang, and I understand the invitation was also sent to Romel Magno of the 84th, also to Police Chief Inspector Raymond Cabiling, the medical legal, who can testify on the autopsy, and also Police Senior Inspector Aranas. May I know from the Secretariat if they are present?
Mr. Chair.
You are recognized.
Mr. Chair, with respect to the inquiry of the gentleman from Zamboanga City, I recognize some of the names as being active operatives of the SAF who actually participated in the Mamasapano incident. No? For security reasons, because they were active frontline participants, they are not should the House wish to meet with them in executive and secret session, they would be very happy to comply. But it is not wise to show their faces and their identities because they were active participants in this operation, and therefore are subject to retribution or revenge by others. No? So I just bring that to the attention of the committee, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Secretary Roas. Yes, Congressman.
Yes, definitely we understand and we agree with the Secretary. It is just that we wanted to know if they would be present and they would be available for the executive sessions, but this would only refer to the active SAF members that participated during the Mamasapano incident. But others like the Police Chief Inspector Raymond Cabaling, the medical legal, and Police Inspector Aranas, and others from the armed forces should be present. That's why we are asking if they are present, except those that participated in the Mamasapano, which will be heard in executive session.
Mr. Chairman, with respect to those who actively participated, including the planning of the operation, we would be happy to make them available. We will await the communication from the committee, and they will be available subject to the security precautions for their own personal safety. All others are I do not speak for them. With respect to Chief Sup na, di ba? Chief Sup na sila. With respect to Chief Sup Mendez, he runs the intelligence operation of the PNP, the IG, and likewise we would want for him to also face the committee in executive session, not in open session, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Secretary Roas. Now we will send the invitation when we have executive session. But
Mr. Chair,
yes,
am I
Congressman,
recognized, Mr. Chair? Just a brief inquiry, Mr. Chair, since we are on the issue of resource persons. May I just know if the Department of Foreign Affairs would also be invited, since they were the first to deny the involvement of the American troops, Mr. Chair?
We did not send invitation to the...
Mr. Chair.
Maybe in the next hearing.
Mr. Chair, we still have another day.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Yeah, how about the MILF, Muhammad Iqbal, who is not here, and there are so many questions that need to be asked. In the last meeting, it was Mr. Ladyasan, who was a member of the CCCH of the MNLF, which is also a very, very important component in this inquiry. So nobody from the MILF is present. So how can we really conduct a probe to ferret out the truth if nobody from the MILF is here?
Well, just for the information of the members of these two committees, the Secretariat had sent an invitation to Mahagir Iqbal, particularly for this hearing, and unluckily we did not receive any response from them, just so that the committees would also know that we make an effort out of it.
We cannot just be saying unluckily if he just does not appear. When he did not appear in the Senate, this was a very, very big issue, and even the senators were saying that if he does not appear, then the committee hearings on even the BBM will not be heard.
Well, for
Well,
the
you know, if he
information
can-
of the Honorable Rodriguez, I think it is not the, to be fair with the committee and so with the secretariat and the chair, it is, I think, not the fault of this this committee for not for the MILF not being around. But the thing that we can do is to ask them why are they not sending any representative to this hearing.
Chair, I am not blaming the committee. The committee is not at fault. But the presence of the MILF is required in this committee hearing because they are the other party, the other side. So if they are invited to a committee hearing, they respected the Senate. On the third and all the other hearings, Chairman Iqbal was present. But here, this is the second hearing, and everybody knows that we might only have 2 hearings today and tomorrow, and he refuses to be here. I think the committee should make a stronger stand. If you want, Mr. Chairman, can I move for a 1-minute suspension?
Before the minute suspension, well, I really respect the sentiments of the Honorable Rodriguez, since really the chair, both the chair of the committees have really done a lot just so that they can be invited. And with that, we agree with the minute suspension. Let's now proceed with due respect to the Honorable Rodriguez. Maybe we could make another invitation with, I think, making some statement on the invitation that we are not really happy with what they are doing. for not being
Not that we're
here
not happy,
today.
we are very displeased.
We are displeased if that is the pleasure of the
Yeah, Mr.
honorable
Chairman.
representative.
And
Yeah,
may I
not
make
only-
another to
Mr.
add
Chairman,
to
I
Congressman
still have the floor.
Lobregat, right now they are in a FOCAP, which is a press conference. So if they can be there, I don't understand why they, is that more important than being here? At least give us some respect.
Noted,
Mr. Chair.
Congresswoman Kawango.
Yeah. It is not that we are not only unhappy, we are very displeased, and also by not showing up, they are waiving the right. Once we come up with the committee report and whatever findings we have, they should not question it because they refuse to be present. And finally, they are not pushing their agenda. They are wanting to pass the BBL by their not being present here today in this hearing. They are showing a very, very antagonistic stand toward the House of Representatives.
You noted, Honorable Robregat, we will send a letter again and putting those words that was mentioned by the Honorable
Yeah,
Robregat.
Mr. Chair, for the record, can I put this into a motion? Strongly urging the
Minute suspension.
am I? That we are very displeased that the presence so we will not put it in the board. Pero susulat tayo, ha? Okay.
Mr. Chair.
The Secretary of the
Mr. Chair.
National Defense is recognized.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Mr. Chair, may I inform the Honorable Lobregat that the Army officers who were mentioned earlier are present. Colonel Feliciano, please stand up. Colonel Del Rosario, Lieutenant Panamogan, Lieutenant Rivera, Lieutenant Banoya Jr., Lieutenant Mateo. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair.
Sir.
The Honorable Robregat and then the Honorable Mangudadato.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Upon consultation with the chairman, they assured us that we don't need to put it in the motion. However, a letter will be written by the committee expressing what has been stated earlier, that we are displeased that more or less by not being present here today, they are waiving the right. And if we come up with a report, they should not question it. And also, by not being present here today, they are not pushing the agenda of trying to pass the BBL.
Noted.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, the Honorable Mangudadato.
Just Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, we have in the invitation list, we have marked the members of the operatives, and so we will give this to the chair so that if should you wish to invite this personnel, then we will arrange it. But these are the personnel who were directly involved in the planning and execution of the operation.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Honorable Marojas. Please submit those that are listed in the notes. And next to be recognized is the Honorable Mangudadato.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Next is Congresswoman Garcia.
Last hearing, Mr. Chair, I made also manifestation, a short manifestation with regard to the resource person that we invited, especially the mayors of the SPMS box, the mayors of Mamasapano, the Sheriff sa Iduna, Sultan sa Barongis, and other mayor. So their presence, Mr. Chair, I think is very essential as to get more essential facts that we may not aware. So may I request, Mr. Chair, to re-invite the mayors of the SPMS box?
For the information of the Honorable from the 2nd District of Maguindanao, the Honorable Mayor of Mamasapano had written us and regret in attending this particular hearing. If the chair would like to be permitted to read this, is the letter of the Honorable Ampatuan. And so with the other that was suggested during the last meeting, the chair had decided to compress the invitation because we cannot really accommodate those that are not really very important that can sufficiently help us in pursuing this investigation. So for the information of the Honorable Magudadato, the municipal mayor of Mamasapano had wrote this committee regretting that he cannot and apologizing that he cannot attend this hearing today.
Mr. Chair.
The ruling of the chair is that hindi namin alam kung sino pa yung gusto ninyo i-invite eh. Paki-submit na lang sa secretariat because meron pa naman tayong hearing bukas. Pag nasambit nyo na yung mga pangalan na gusto ninyo imbitahan, this afternoon, gawa namin ng invitation para padala na. Para maka-resume na tayo. Kasi we had already so much discussion about some issues. Pero nandito yung mga resource person natin, we will take advantage of their time. So, the last person, yes, Congresswoman Garcia. And then we will proceed with our inquiry.
Thank you, Mr.
Yes.
Chair. Just a clarification,
And
Mr.
after
Chair.
Congresswoman Garcia, Congressman Pagdilaw.
I understand that we have scheduled 2 hearings, one for today and one for tomorrow. May we know if all of our invited resource speakers or persons will be present for both days so that we congressmen will be guided accordingly when we shall be asking questions of the resource speakers who are present today but may not be present tomorrow.
Thank you.
And my second question is, we have acknowledged the presence of the Mamasapano widows and members of the family. May we know if some congressmen may have some questions to ask from them? Would they be allowed to answer in the person of a spokesperson? Those are my 2 questions, Mr. Chair.
First is we just forgot to inform the members that the secretary of the DILG had wrote us a letter that he will not be present tomorrow because of some activities in other provinces. So the chair would suggest that if any questions that is going to be asked to the Honorable Secretary, we advise the members to question it now. To the second question by the Honorable Garcia, ang pag-invite po sa mga pamilya ng pamilya ng Mamasapano victim ay bisita lang po, hindi para as resource person. So understandably, hindi po pwede tanungin yung pamilya ng mga kamag-anak ng Mamasapano. Maraming salamat po.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, may I be acknowledged?
Pwede na ba mag-proceed? Sayang yung oras natin.
Yeah, just one last question, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
The BOI and the Senate have both come up with their own reports. May we make references to both?
Yes, yes, definitely.
Mr. Chair, may I be acknowledged?
Congressman Pagdilaw.
Yeah, this is in relation to what the gentlewoman from Cebu just said or inquired. Actually, Mr. Chair, this inquiry was suspended to give way to the BOI inquiry. And we've been informed by the committee secretariat that they are now in possession of the report, records of the BOI. So in that regard, Mr. Chairman, we know that we are constrained by time and we need to speed up the proceedings. I now move that we adopt as part of the records of this committee investigation the records of the BOI and the Senate records of their investigation, and to include the speeches of the President uttered or spoken in relation to the Mamasapano incident, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Congressman Pagdilaw. There's a motion duly seconded. Objection?
Does this include
All records.
the persons that were asked in the Mamasapano will help us even in the questioning? Because if we're satisfied with the affidavits, then we don't need to ask further questions. But if we have certain questions on the affidavit, then we can go direct to the affidavits, and this will shortcut or shorten the process. So can we have also the affidavits of the resource persons, especially those resource persons that are present? So at least
All
we
the
can go
records
direct.
of the BOI
Yes.
and Senate are included.
Yes. So can we have, even for tomorrow, the affidavits of those resource persons that are present? So at least we can ask them directly already. Would that be possible? I think General Magalong can answer that question.
Your
Yes,
Honor, we
General
have
Magalong.
included in our report that were submitted to the HOR were copies of the 367, were copies of the sworn statements of 367 affiants. It was already submitted to the House of
Mr.
Representatives,
Chairman.
Your Honor.
Mr. Chairman, here, to your left. I am a congressman, not a general anymore. Former, yes. Mr. Chairman, there is a motion for us to adopt the investigation reports of the BOI and the inquiry of the Senate. I have the copies of these two documents, but in the form of summaries. If the motion to adopt this does not include the truth and the wisdom of the findings, for example, the findings of the Senate, there are 17 findings and there are 10 recommendations. I would understand, Mr. Chairman, that we are not adopting these findings and conclusions. We are accepting the submissions of this as references when we finally make our own committee reports. Is that the understanding, Mr. Chairman?
Thank you,
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Biaso. From my understanding of the motion is that we are only adopting the records and the facts, but not the conclusion and the analysis of those that are the institution that were mentioned. So we are only adapting the facts, and so with other records, affidavits, as being mentioned by the Honorable Pagdilaw. So is there any objection to the motion?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Honorable Defensor.
May I be clarified? So we are adopting the facts as stated in those documents as established in these proceedings likewise, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, the
Mr. Chair.
Honorable Pagdilaw.
Let me just clarify my motion, Mr. Chair. What I'm raising is for this committee, the joint committees, to include in our record, especially so that we need all of this when we come up with our committee report. But we are not bound by the conclusion of or the findings, no, of these reports or investigation reports, whether it's the BOI, the Senate, and even the up-and-coming report that will be submitted by the Department of Justice, Mr. Chairman. And when we say records of this will include even the affidavits, everything that has been made part of the records of this investigation conducted by both BOI and the Senate, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman,
Is the Honorable Defensor already satisfied with the answer by the Honorable Pagdilaw?
Thank you for the clarification, Mr. Chairman. But as I understand it, we can only adopt evidence here because those records will be considered as evidence, as documentary evidence. If the members of the committee will have a chance to ask questions or technically to cross-examine the persons who wrote those documents, who were responsible for executing those documents. That is the reason why I have my misgivings as to the adoption of those documents. If we invite the persons who executed those documents to appear here and they submit those documents, we can adopt them as part of the records. But if we adopt them as part of the records, they automatically become evidence in this committee, Mr. Chairman. And the members of our honorable colleagues did not have a chance to ask questions, Mr. Chairman.
Is there any reaction? Yes, the Deputy Speaker.
if we adopt records, then we are bound by it. Perhaps we can say as merely a reference, but to adopt it, we are bound by it. And we are not given a chance to cross-examine or what. So on the adoption, I object. But merely as a reference, I will have no objection.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chairman, may I make
Mr. Chairman,
make a
if
manifestation,
the-
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, the Honorable Pagdilaw is recognized.
This representation expressed his intent, what he means by the adoption of these records as part of the reports of the BOI and the Senate as part of the records is exactly what has been explained. So if the insertion of the word adopted for purposes of reference, then I'll amend that, Mr. Chairman, to clarify my motion, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, in that case, I will withdraw my apprehension or objection to the motion of the gentleman, Mr. Chairman.
Any second to the motion that was being moved by? Okay. The motion is approved. Can we now proceed with the proper hearing so that, while having our lunch, we can now proceed with the hearing. Thank you. Before the chair would recognize the first interpolator, may I recognize the Commissioner Kamlian of the Bangsamoro Transition Commission, and so with Representative Susan Yap, and Representative Ruby Sahari. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Chairman Saliman. Okay, let's go to the person who will first to ask question, Congressman Hiccup. Yes, sir. You may have the floor.
Maraming salamat, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, ang katanungan ko po ay direkta kay General Purisima. Pwede na po ako magpatuloy, Mr. Chair. General Purisima, kayo ang inatasan ng Pangulo para makasiwa sa napakasensitibong Mamasapano project sa panahon kung na kayo ay suspendido. Hindi ba ninyo naisip nung panahong yon na hindi tama ang pagtalaga sa iyo ng Pangulo sa offline exodus?
Your Honor, Mr. Chairs, hindi po ako inatasan ng Pangulo na mamahala sa Mamasapano operation. Ako po ay nagre-relay lamang po ng mga information noon during that day papunta po sa Pangulo. Hindi po ako namamahala kasi po ako po ay nasa San Leonardo, Nueva Ecija during that time. At yung pamamahala po, hindi po ako namamahala during that operation, Your Honor.
Kung hindi kayo namamahala, bakit sa inyo nagre-report si General Napiñas at kayo ay nagre-report kay Pangulo? Hindi lang simpleng advisor yun o really, General Purisima. Diba? General Purisima, kailan nga pa kayo binigyan ng order ng Pangulo na mag-coordinate kay General Espina at General Katapang?
Your Honor, on the first question, yung patungkol po sa... Pakiulit po yung unang question, Your Honor.
Kailan ba kayo binigyan ng order ng Pangulo na mag-coordinate kay General Espina at General Katapang?
That is the second question, Your Honor. The first question, Your Honor.
Yung pangalawang tanong, bakit sa inyo nagre-report si General Purisima ay General Napiñas at kayo ang nagre-report kay Pangulo?
Your Honor, the Police Director Napeñas has no direct access to the President, and I was just relaying all the information that was given me to the President, Your Honor. On the second question, ang sinabi po sa akin ni Pangulo noong January 9 na kailangan i-coordinate na kay General Espina yung operation about Mamasapano, Your Honor.
Sabi nung magsalita si Pangulong Aquino ay kayo yung direktang nag-inform sa kanya. At sabi siya pa nga, kaugnay ng coordination mo ay nagsisinungaling daw kayo. Ano bang nasabi ninyo sa kanya na hindi totoo?
Your Honor, sa pagkakalam ko, wala po siyang sinabing nagsisinungaling ako. Ang naalala ko po, yung tinatanong po dito ay tungkol po dun sa artillery. At yung impormasyon po tungkol sa artillery ay nanggaling po sa Commanding General po ng Western Mindanao Command na si Lieutenant General Guerrero nung siya po ay tinanong ko kung paano natutulungan yung mga tropa natin sa Mamasapano.
Kaya yun yung in-inform mo kay Pangulo na sinasabi niya na nagsisinungaling kayo.
Yun po yung impormasyon na pinadala ko po sa ating Pangulo, Your Honor.
Na ibig sabihin, hindi po kayo nagsisinungaling kay Pangulo?
Hindi po yung nagsisinungaling, Your Honor. I was just relaying an information. Your Honor, may I submit to this committee yung pong mga SMS transcription of messages between myself and His Excellency from January 8 to January 25, Your Honor.
Okay. basa mo ng direkta yung mga sinasabi mo na direct text messages mo kay Presidente Aquino, kay Pangulo?
Your Honors, may I read? On January 25 at 5:45 a.m. from Police Director General Purisima. The text message is like this. Sir, good morning. For info, SAP elements implemented o plan against high-value targets. As of now, result indicate that Marwan was killed and one SAF trooper wounded. The body of Marwan was left behind. From pictures were taken. The troopers are now withdrawal phase and progress report to follow. At 7:36, Your Honor, His Excellency replied, why was it left behind the other two targets? At 7:48, Your Honor, I replied, sir, accordingly, the nearest target from the line of approach is M1. And when they hit the primary target, the other house where Basit Osman was located with other elements reacted and fired at the troopers. There are about 15 to 20 armed elements. It was about 4:30 a.m. and it was decided that they pull out after gathering pictures and other evidences. They were not able to reach the secondary target, sir. At 7:59, Your Honor, His Excellency replied, if I remember correctly, 160 SAF troopers were directly involved in this operation, plus provisions for other PNP and AFP units to assist. The terrain is flat and clear as opposed to upland, forested, and jungle terrain. Why they could not contain or overwhelm the 15 to 20 member opposing force? Are they still in contact with other two targets? If not, and the opposing force has escaped, are we back to square one? At 8:17, Your Honor, I replied, they are presently in contact with reinforcing elements from BIFF. The containment forces who are the ones in contact right now, sir. Right now, they are supported by mechanized and artillery support, sir. At 8:18, Your Honor, Police Director Purisima, the local target, Basit and his group were the first group that were engaged by the main effort group. At 8:41, His Excellency texted me again, review your earlier and latest texts. They differ as to which was engaged first. At 8:45, Your Honor, I mean, sir, the first target was M1, where they were able to neutralize first. The group of Basit retaliated, which was about 100 meters away. His Excellency replied at 10:16 a.m., Basit should not get away. At 11:38 a.m., already advised, sir, but as of the moment, the main effort is withdrawing, and according to the Director IG, we still have our contact and with and will hit them again, sir. At 6:20 p.m., I texted the President, sir, the latest report from operating elements in Maguindanao states that security elements who were engaged by BIFF/MILF elements suffered heavy casualties. They were reportedly overrun. CCH and International Monitoring Team are in the area retrieving casualties. The main effort is still in the process of rendezvous with other SAF and AFP elements. Those were the text messages, Your Honor, that transpired on January 25, Your Honor.
Hanggang ano oras ba yung huling text messages nyo dyan sa binasa nyong conversation nyo ni Pangulo?
Your Honor, I texted the President at 6:20 p.m. and there was no reply, Your Honor. 6:20 p.m.
Kompleto yan, ano? Yung buong sa isang araw ng January 25?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ay, may gap, ano? Ng hanggang 11, from 11, past 11, hanggang 6 ay wala ng text messages. Diyan ba sa binabasa nyo na ano, ay nandyan lahat?
At the last text message I sent, Your Honor, is at 11:38 minutes before the 6:20 p.m., Your Honor.
Okay. Hindi po kayo nagsisinungaling kay Pangulo. Automatic,
Hindi po, Your Honor.
yung information nyo na ibinibigay kay Pangulo ay updated.
Yes, Your Honor. If I will make the reference that was made with my text to Lieutenant General Guerrero when he texted me at 8:03 a.m. Meron ng coordination sa ground tank, infantry, and artillery support are made available. That was the text message, Your Honor, given to me by Lieutenant General Guerrero at 8:03 a.m.
So bakit hindi nagkaroon ng artillery support doon sa... Ikaw ba yung direktang nagkukuman kay General Guerrero para doon sa support sa artillery o si Pangulo?
Ako po ay nagre-relay lang po ng information, Your Honor. Inire-relay ko lang po yung information na nakukuha ko sa ating mga kasabahan sa Armed Forces at kay Police Director Napeñas. At hindi po ako nagkukuman, hindi po ako nakikialam kung paano sila mag-operate. Ako po ay nagbibigay lamang po ng impormasyon, Your Honor.
Kaya si Pangulo, based sa information na binibigay nyo, ano ba yung kanyang aksyon kung meron man kayong alam o ginawa sa panahon na halos sabi mo ay updating doon sa mga nangyayari doon sa Mamasapano?
Hindi ko na po alam, Your Honor, kung ano po yung actions na ginawa ng ating Pangulo because I was not with him during that time, Your Honor.
Maliban ba doon sa text, nagkausap ba kayo? Tinawagan mo man lamang si Presidente para direkta na magkausap kayo doon sa sitwasyon noong panahon yun?
No, Your Honor, I did not call the President, Your Honor.
Bakit hindi man lang kayo sa gano'n na, no? Na gano'n na katindi yung nangyayari doon sa Mamasapano, puro text yung ginagamit nyo, ba't hindi man lang kayo nakapag-isip na tawagan para direkta na mag-usap kayo doon sa nagaganap doon sa Mamasapano?
Your Honor, I learned that the President was in Zamboanga that time and he was with the secretaries and other armed forces officials and ang alam ko po, Your Honor,
nandun din si Presidente sa Zamboanga, napakalapit.
Sila nga po yung nandun, kaya nga po wala po ako doon, Your Honor. That's why I'm not...
Anyway, yan sana ang pinakamahalaga, Mr. Chair, doon sa motion ni Congressman Colmenares na dapat imbitahan si Presidente Noynoy Aquino para sila direkta na siya ang sumagot, no? Doon sa ating mga katanungan. At ito rin yung hinahanap ng pamilya ng mga biktima, no? Yung SAP at saka yung iba pang mga biktima doon sa Mamasapano. Ang last tanong ko lang, General Purisima, pwede nyo bang i-compare, meron ba kayo partisipasyon sa planning execution dito sa Oplan Exodus?
Your Honor, wala po akong participation sa planning ng Oplan Exodus. Sila po, ang SAP po, ang nag-conceptualize ng Oplan Exodus and ako po mismo ay hindi po present. Wala po ako doon sa planning sessions na nakinantak po ng Special Action Force.
Yung huling usap nyo kaugnay dito sa Exodus, ano, na na-report nyo na at batay na rin sa inyo noong January 9, ano yung napag-usapan nyo ni Presidente Aquino? Nung kayo na lang, after nang lumabas na si General Napeñas at iba pang kasama doon sa pag-uusap, na kung saan ay sinabihan mo si General Napeñas na kayo nang bahala kay Katapang at kay Espina.
Your Honor, on January 9, the meeting with
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, in the previous hearing of this joint committee, the guests were the resource persons were asked to take their oath, so their statements would be under oath. So
This is a continued hearing.
So just to clarify,
Yes.
it is understood
He is under
that,
oath.
that the statements are still under oath, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, I'll just answer, Your Honor. The January 9 meeting with the President was not a planning session. By then, Oplan Exodus was complete. Police Director General Purisima merely facilitated the briefing and Police Director Napeñas had no access to the President. It was Police Director Napeñas who conducted the briefing. The President made comments and instructions, but this cannot be deemed as approval of the mission which is based on PNP's legal mandate and court order to arrest Marwan and Basitos Man. Your Honor, ang pinag-usapan po after the briefing, nagpunta po kami dun sa music room ng ating Pangulo at napag-usapan po yung tungkol po sa
sa mga equipment sa musika, and it was here when he mentioned that the President mentioned that Police Deputy Director General Espina should be informed about the operations.
Okay.
Congressman Hiccup, your time is up.
Okay. Last one question na lang,
Yes.
Mr. Chair.
Last question, please.
May alam ka ba o may knowledge ka ba na mayroong partisipasyon ang US dito sa o involvement dito sa Mamasapano o dito sa Exodus?
Your Honor, dito po sa Oplan Exodus, as far as I know, wala pong participation ng US counterparts na nalalaman ko po, Your Honor.
Mr. Chair, pwede bang maka-isang question pa kay General Napiñas?
Tama na, last na yun. Kasi kung, okay, the next, second round, pwede naman mag-second round. The next person to ask question is Congressman Defensor, but before that, we would like to acknowledge, the Chair would like to acknowledge Congressman Anthony Del Rosario and Congressman Teddy Bagila, and also Chairwoman Ferrer. Thank you. Congressman Defensor, you may have the floor.
Good afternoon, Honorable Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, my dear colleagues. I would like to address my questions to the PNP and whoever is in the best position to answer them. Now, Oplan Exodus arose from, of course, was an execution of a warrant of arrest. From what case did this warrant of arrest arise? What is the caption, the name of this case, and where is it pending? And who are the other respondents in this case or accused?
Your Honor, the Honorable Chairs, good morning, sir. The basis of this Operation Exodus was based on the warrant of arrest issued against the subject Abdul Basit Usman and Marwan. I have here with me, included in the intelligence estimate, the different warrant of arrest of subject persons. The first warrant of arrest that I have is dated 18th of December of 2007, issued by Kidapawan City, the 12th Judicial Region, Branch 23 of Kidapawan City, against Abdul Basit Usman. I have another warrant of arrest issued by the Regional Trial Court, 11th Judicial Region, Branch 22 and General Santos City, against Abdul Basit Osman also.
So, tama ba? Galing po ito sa dalawang kaso?
Ang kaso po dito, murder, prostrated murder, multiple murder po, Your Honor.
Now, with respect to these warrants of arrest, sino bang opisyal ng PNP to whom the warrants of arrest were delivered for execution?
Ibinibigay po yan sa any law enforcer, Your Honor. At nagkataon, yung Special Action Force, its primary mission, one of its primary mission is counter-terrorism. And knowing the fact na itong dalawang target na ito, Your Honor, they are the top terrorists, not only in the country, but in Southeast Asia.
Wala na ibang akusado sa mga kaso na ito?
Marami po, Your Honor, yung nakapangalan dito sa mga warrant of arrest na hinahawakan namin.
Mga ilan sila bukod kay Marwan at kay Usman?
Bibilangin ko po, Your Honor. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sobra 20 po, Your Honor, ito kung bibilangin ko lahat.
Right
sa
now?
isang warrant of arrest lang po, Your Honor. And there are other warrant of arrest na na-issue.
So, with respect to these other respondents, what is the status of the case? What is the status of the case with respect to the other accused aside from
Ang
Usman
status
and
po ng
Marwan?
kaso, Your Honor, arestuhin dapat itong mga subject na ito na nakalagay ang pangalan dito sa warrant of arrest.
So they are still at large. So likewise, they are also alleged terrorists.
kasama po sila, Your Honor. Yung status po ng case, dahil hindi pa na-aresto itong mga subject natin sa operation na ito, remain pending doon sa korte kung saan nakapile, Your Honor.
With respect to the obligation to report to the court what happened in the execution of the warrant of arrest, who is the officer who made this report to the respective regional trial courts with respect to the outcome of the execution of the warrants of arrest?
Ito po yung natasan yung intelligence officer namin at saka yung commanding officer ng 4th Battalion na mag-serve sila ng return of warrant doon sa korte na nag-issue sa mga warrant po ni Marwan, Your Honor.
Sino po sila?
Ang una kong inatasan si Senior Superintendent De La Rosa, yung aming intelligence officer, at siya po rin po ang nakipag-coordinate doon sa commanding officer ng 4th Battalion na nakabase doon sa Kidapawan City, North Cotabato, Your Honor.
Ano po ang nakasulat doon sa return o kaya yung report na ginawa nila sa korte hinggil sa pag-execute ng warrant of arrest? Anong sinabi nila sa report na iyon?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, wala ko pong hawak na ganun na kopya. But magkukuha po kami, Your Honor, para mabigyan kayo ng kopya kung kinakailangan.
But can we categorically say that the PNP made a report to the courts after the execution of the warrant?
Yes, Your Honor. Ginawa po namin yan.
True to the knowledge of our resource persons present here today, we don't know what was written in the return or the report of the PNP to the courts. Baka may mga kasama tayong dito na alam nila kung anong laman ng report ng PNP sa korte. So we are interested, no? In any event, Mr. Chairman, may we request that the committee be furnished with a copy of the return that was submitted by the Philippine National Police to the respective courts. We are interested, Mr. Chairman. So, are we settled on that no one from our resource persons can answer the question as to the content of the report of the PNP to the courts?
Can anybody from the PNP can react to the query by the Honorable Defensor?
I have, sir, Your Honors, I have directed Director Leona Peñas here to produce the record so that we can submit it to the committee.
Thank you very much, General Espina, for the answer, and please submit it immediately if we can, if the General Napeñas could provide it.
Without having anyone, Mr. Chairman, to testify on the contents of the return to the courts, may we get the sense of the PNP on this? As established in the investigations in other fora, the evidence that was gathered from the operation, especially with respect to Marwan, was a cut finger. Is that correct, Mr. Chairman?
Please, General Napeñas, if you could answer the question.
That's true, Your Honor, including pictures taken from the subject in his hut.
Ito ba ay sinumiti ninyo sa korte ang mga ebidensya na nakuha natin dun sa execution ng warrant of arrest?
Hindi pa, Your Honor. Hindi namin na-submit sa korte. Instead, yung finger na nakuha namin doon sa kay Marwan, dinala ko doon sa tactical command post. At after 2 days, yun po yung i-turn over natin doon sa Federal Bureau of Investigation representative. Kasi po yung team leader ng assault force na si Superintendent Train, nakita niya na masisira, mabubulok after 2 days dahil nandun na kami sa Cotabato during that time. Undergoing na kami ng ng BOI inquiry. At masisira po yon. Ngayon, there was already a strong clamor from the public at that time na dapat makonfirma na kung siya nga si Marwan yung napatay. Ang pangatlo po na dahilan kung bakit ibinigay ni Superintendent Tren doon sa FBI, sila po ang may hawak doon sa database na pwedeng ikonfirma o ikumpara yung sample na nakuha kay Marwan doon sa operation, Your Honor.
We are asking these questions because there are cries for justice, especially that it should be served, no, with respect to the outcome of the execution of the warrant arrest or the operation. But there is also another kind of justice that must be served, the one that is pending before the courts, and we can only do this if we serve the ends of substantive and procedural due process by following the procedures of the court. That's why we are concerned with the evidence, because we cannot say that this mission is really accomplished if we do not put a closure to this before the branch of the government that is tasked to serve the ends of justice. The death of the accused is not the end of it. The closure is before the courts. That is why we are concerned with the evidence and its relevance or its bearing to the prosecution of the case before the courts. So right now, the evidence is not yet with the courts, but it will be submitted later to the courts in the course of the proceedings. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, Your Honor, we will do that.
But is it safe to say that this is reflected in the report that was made by the PNP to the courts as a matter of natural course?
Congressman Defensor, time is...
Inyong katanungan at hindi ko po nakuha ng maayos.
No, I'm saying that can we assume or is it safe to say na ito bang the fact that the evidence is not yet with the courts and it was submitted somewhere else, can we say that it is stated in the return that was made to the court, if at all there was a return? Ito ba'y nakalagay sa return na ibinigay ninyo doon sa ibang ahensya ng gobyerno ang ebidensya?
Katulad yung sinabi ko, Your Honor, hindi ko po nakita na personally yung return na papunta doon sa korte at kaya hindi ko po masagot yung katanungan ng diretsahan, Your Honor.
My time is up. That is all, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Congressman Defensor. Next person to ask question is Congressman Carlo Nograles, but the chair would like to acknowledge Congressman Johnny Revilla. Yes, Congressman
Thank you, Mr.
Nograles,
Chair.
you may have the floor.
My question is directed to Chair Coronel Ferrer. Madam Chair, the IMT has already given its findings that there was violation of the ceasefire agreement by both SAF and the MILF. Do you agree with those findings? And number two, do you agree with the stand of the MILF that due to a violation of the ceasefire, they will be the ones who will be solely responsible for disciplining their forces?
Thank you, Your Honor, and good afternoon to everyone. With regard to the mandate of the IMT's mandate is limited to evaluating incidents on the basis of the ceasefire agreement. And as part of our mechanism, we respect the results of verification missions conducted by the IMT on these and previous protests of ceasefire violations that have been filed before them. So to that extent, we are taking due consideration of the findings, but the actual consequences of these findings mainly pertain to the ceasefire processes. Your Honor, it is not a basis for any judicial action that may be undertaken by any one of us.
Because, Madam Chair, based on the Manual of Instructions for CCCH and LMT signed in 2001, it says here that it shall be the responsibility of the GRP and MILF jointly to take immediate and necessary action to stop any violation and punish respective forces. So where are we now in terms of punishing the respective forces of the MILF?
The responsibility to undertake the internal disciplinary measures belong to the respective organizations, Your Honor. As far as the government is concerned, it has taken some of the necessary steps through its own processes, administrative processes, and the courts have also, the other bodies such as the Ombudsman has likewise taken action. But otherwise, the responsibility pertains to each party in relation to their own organizations.
So you agree that the MILF will be the ones responsible for punishing their forces?
It is a responsibility of any organization to discipline erring members of their organization, but that is without prejudice to court cases that may be filed on the basis of national laws, Your Honor.
What can you say about the Senate report that says that the MILF lack control over their ground forces and have disregarded and disrespected legitimate government operations?
I respect the findings of the Senate committee on this matter, Your Honor.
For the record, Madam Chair, what is the full and real name of Mohager Iqbal?
Mohager Iqbal is nom de guerre, and Mohager Iqbal is the official name that has been used in negotiations ever since the negotiations with the Philippine government began in 1997. He, of course, has his own name by which he was born.
And that is the name written in his passport and his voter's ID, correct?
For his passport, I think that question properly belongs to Mr. Iqbal, not to me.
But you mentioned in a public statement that you know the name of Mohager Iqbal.
Several names of Mr. Iqbal, Your Honor, but to answer the question, I will not be in a position to do that.
I'd just like to put on record that we have Article 178 of the Revised Penal Code and the Anti-Alias Law under Commonwealth Act Number 142 as amended by RA 6085 that prohibits persons from using pseudonyms, and in any public transaction or public document they must affix their real or original name, and all names or aliases or pseudonyms otherwise is punishable. Thank you. My next questions are directed to General Napeñas. General Napeñas, who fired the first shots when the 84th SAF was engaged with the primary target? Is it true that the 84th SAF fired the first shots?
Your Honor, based on the accounts ng team leader ng assault force doon sa kay Marwan, ang unang pumutok is yung IED, Your Honor, na nakatanim doon sa paligid ng pinagtataguan na kubo ni Marwan. At mas maganda siguro, Your Honor, kung yung mismo na team leader ang sasagot sa katanungan na yan para sa ganon malaman natin yung mas diretso na kasagutan, Your Honor.
May we ask team leader, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, the team leader will be among those whose identities are being safeguarded, and when the chair or the committee decides on the executive session, they will be available, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I withdraw my question. But General Napeñas, to your knowledge, it was not the 84th who fired the first shot? Or dahil pumutok nga yung IED, binaril na lang nila? Kasi according to the MILF report, Marwan was killed while he was sleeping. That was the MILF report. Do you agree with that?
Hindi ko po akong maaring maniwala po doon, Your Honor. The fact na pumutok yung IED, imposible po naman siguro na hindi ka magigising sa lakas ng putok nun, Your Honor.
Okay. What about the 55th SAC? Yung 55th SAC po, were they the ones who fired the first shots? That led to the death of MILF Omar Dagadas and Ali Ismael, according to the MILF report.
Again, Your Honor, mas maganda po na ang sasagot niyan mismo yung lone survivor na kasama din po doon sa na-mention kanina ng ating kagalang-galang na Secretary ng Interior of Local Government na pwede pong mag-appear doon sa executive session. Sa po yung CPO2 Christopher Lalan, Your Honor.
But apart from his testimony, which meron naman po tayo sa isa sa mga inquiries no, sa BOI report, apart from that, do you have any other evidence, real-time recordings, videos, whatever, that will prove that hindi po yung 55th SAC ang nag-fire ng first shot? Apart from testimonial evidence or affidavits?
Wala pong ibang ebidensya, Your Honor, except of course yung testimony mismo ni PO2 Lalan, Your Honor.
General Peñas, when Oplan Wolverine, balik tayo no? Sa Oplan Wolverine, when it was approved by President Aquino and Secretary Rojas, and in fact this was presented to General Espina, why did the 6th ID withdraw its commitment to provide mechanized infantry for the operation?
Your Honor, kung maaari basahin ko lang yung report na ibinigay, na i-prepare that time ni General De Los Reyes. At according to this report, ang sinasabi ni General De Los Reyes, dahil kausap niya mismo si Major General Gapos at that time, habang underway yung mga tao namin, kailangan daw na mag-coordinate doon sa MILF before na i-launch yung operation, Your Honor. At sa kadahilanan na yon, i-withdraw nila yung commitment na suporta ng Mechanized Brigade.
Okay, so after Oplan Wolverine, nagkaroon ng Oplan Terminator, nagkaroon ng Oplan Terminator 2, and then nagkaroon ng supposedly a planning to use a precision-guided munition bomb. Do you confirm this?
Yes, Your Honor.
And this involved General Katapang, Lieutenant General Guerrero, General Pangilinan, General Purisima, and yourself in December 19. Was Marwan and Usman located in the same huts that you found him during the January 25 operation?
Yes, Your Honor, the same location.
But you were told by the Air Force na walang ganong klaseng special munition, kaya nagkaroon po ng Oplan Exodus, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, after our meeting doon sa Zamboanga on December 23, 2014, Your Honor.
But why was this even brought up, ang special munitions ng Air Force or whatever? Dahil po ba ayaw ng AFP na pasukan ninyo ang lugar na yon?
Hindi po, Your Honor. Ang dahilan po dahil dun sa dalawa na failed operations na by boat at na-consider na nga po itong gamitan na lang ng bomba para hindi na maput at risk masyado yung ating mga kapulisan na magsasagawa ng operasyon.
But during these 3 Oplans, okay naman ang AFP na sumaklolo sa inyo?
Hindi ko po masasagot, Your Honor, kung yung katanungan nyo kung okay, kung anong ibig sabihin yun, baka pwedeng liwanagin ng gusto yung kanyang katanungan, Your Honor.
Okay, since I'm on my last question, General Espina, the IMT report said na walang proof na nagkaroon ng summary execution of the SAF PNP. But based on the autopsy report, 3 SAF commandos were shot on mid-portion of their torsos that were supposedly covered by bulletproof vest. Isang police inspector was shot at close range. PO2 Sagonoy, the one in the video, suffered 2 fatal shots to the head. So, in your expert opinion, could you say that these were summary executions?
Sir, my answer is I am not a qualified expert as I am not a forensic doctor. But I just base my answers on what were presented to me by the forensic doctors of the Crime Laboratory of the Philippine National Police.
But these were clearly done. They were shot not because of a gunfight, not because of an encounter, but they were killed while they were defenseless. Hindi po ba?
Yes, sir. That's the report of our crime lab.
So do you agree with the IMT findings that there's no proof that nagkaroon ng summary execution?
Sir, may I please answer it this way? There are so many investigations that have come out. Our own Board of Inquiry, Senate, Congress, in progress. It would just be prudent on my part, sir, to just respect all the investigations, and it would be best for agencies who are mandated to pass judgment or decisions to rule on these investigations.
The time of the Honorable Nograno said already been consumed. Can we be sa next speaker na po tayo?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Honorable Harrison.
yes, Mr. Chair, at this point, may I also move that we include the IMT report and also the MILF report as a reference of this committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Harrison. Next speaker, please.
Next, Congressman to ask question. Congressman Doyle Liachon. He's not around. Next, Congressman Abu. Yes, sir. You may have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Kay General Napiñas po. Nung pinaplano ninyo ang operation na ito, so kinoconsider ninyo ang lahat. Nung kinoconsider ninyo, including yung mga logistical requirements, pati yung mga finances, at ginawa na ninyo ang operation na ito, okay na ba yung lahat? Ready pa talaga yung mga logistical requirements nyo?
Tungkol po sa logistical requirement, Your Honor, na kompleto po namin, naihanda po namin yung mga yun.
In accordance sa isang malakiang police operations, yun yung mga equipments, mga kailangan ng mga tao, yung po ba'y naaangkop sa isang napakalaking police operations?
Para sa operasyon na ito, specific, Your Honor, naihanda po namin.
Mas, na kinonsidera niyo na mas magaling pa ang cellphone kaysa sa mga radios?
Your Honor, nag-set up kami ng communication system doon sa tactical command post na gagamitin as early as December 23, 2014 at inabot sila ng 1 linggo na nag-set up. 3 po yung communication system na i-set up doon dahil nga na nakita namin nakakailanganin po ng radio. Isa po yung tactical Harris radio na mayroon repeater na pinalagay ko doon, pinalagay namin. At yung taga-communication and electronic service mismo ng Camp Crame ang pupunta. Ang pangalawa na radio na inilagay po doon ay yung Motorola police radio po ito, kasama na rin po yung repeater. At yung pangatlo, yung VHF radio po na pwedeng maggamitin na pang-monitor o pag-communicate doon sa mga iba't ibang tao na gumagamit ng VHF radio. Ang pang-apat na ginamit po namin sa operation na ito, Your Honor, is yung satellite phone. At ang pang-5, yung individual cellphone. Nakalagay po ito doon sa operation plan namin na ito yung gagamitin na communication systems para dito sa operation na ito, Your Honor.
Yung pong 1, 2, 3, 4 na kind of communication equipment na yun yung sinabi kanina, nagamit po ba yun lahat?
Your Honor, yung Harris, gamit na gamit po yun doon sa operation, except doon sa 84th na hindi namin malaman dahil nung nakalimang beses silang tumawid na ilog, hindi namin makontak. Pero doon sa 55th at saka yung advanced command post, gamit na gamit po yung Harris radio po, Your Honor.
May mga records so kayo na yan, mga transcription dyan sa mga radio communication yan, tulad sa Motorola, satellite phone, yan sa Harris na yung tinatawag na yan.
Yung radio operator po yatin, Your Honor, mayroon siyang hawak na transcription o yung kanyang notes ng kanilang communication doon sa mga tropa doon sa ground. Nais kong sabihin, Your Honor, na yung satellite phone hindi po nagamit dito dahil nga gumana na po yung individual cellphone ng mga ating kapulisan na nag-operate doon sa lugar.
Ay, nung mga bandang tanghali na o na nawawala ng mga signal, so hindi rin nagamit yung mga satellite phone?
Katulad yung sinabi ko, Your Honor, hindi namin po ginamit na yung satellite phone dahil yung individual cellphone, nagamit po yun hanggang gabi, hanggang sa ma-rescue yung 84th ng hating gabi na hanggang kinabukasan, hindi po nag-fail yung subscriber ng mga cellphones, kaya hindi na namin ginamit yung cellphone, Your Honor, yung sat phone, Your Honor.
Hindi ninyo talagang ni-required na ipagamit yun dahil may mga report na may mga nasa 55 na nangihingi pa ng load para lang makatawag.
Iko-confirm ko po, Your Honor, kung totoo nga na mayroon taga 50-50 na humihingi ng load kung kanino man nangihingi. Pero hindi ko po narinig yung informasyon na yan, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, may I request to the committee na may request natin sa radio operators nila yung transcription ng mga usapan nila sa mga other communication na equipment na ginamit nila. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. May mga news reports sa mga naunang mga araw na sinasabi ninyo, General Napiñas, na kaya hindi kayo nakipag-coordinate sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, you didn't trust them. Paki-confirm lang ho nito.
Hindi yung walang coordination, Your Honor. Kung ano man yung matawag natin, yung coordination or yung panghihingi ng tulong na yung 84th SAC ay nandoon na sa lugar, yun po yung ginawa namin sa Armed Forces of the Philippines. As to the trust or yung pagtitiwala sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, hindi ko po alam kung na-misquote ako kung ano yung sa media, but the truth remains na pag nagko-coordinate kami doon sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, katulad nga yung nasagot ko na kanina, na nag-coordinate kami pero hindi kami binigyan ng tulong. And mayroong isang operation kami doon sa Lanao Sur na ako rin yung nag-supervise in 2012. Nag-coordinate din kami sa AAP, prior yun. Then yung target namin, just as we arrived, yung tropa namin doon sa lugar, nakaalis si Marwan. At yung iba pa na ginawa namin, hindi namin kinonsider na yung coordination before the operation sa AAP. Instead, we recommended na kung nandoon na mismo yung assault force doon sa lugar, saka lang namin iinformahan or sabihan yung Armed Forces of the Philippines, Your Honor.
General Guerrero, sinasabi nila kaya hindi sila nagtiwala sa inyo dahil may mga operation na nag-back down na nalalaman agad. Yun po ba kaya ang dahilan o sa inyong tingin, bakit talaga hindi kayo, bakit lumabas yung balita na hindi kayo pinagtitiwalaan ni General Napeñas?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, I would like to clarify our position on that matter. I believe that overall in my command, under the Western Mindanao Command, we have no problem in conducting law enforcement operations jointly with the PNP, especially the ones deployed in the same area of responsibility, which is Western Mindanao. We have conducted joint operations with the PNP previously with success because we had very good coordination. What happened, what Director Peñas narrated in the Senate about 10 operations against Marwan, he cited 2 instances involving the AFP and the PNP. And these were the April 25, 2014 aborted joint operations in Maguindanao. And another on June 10, 2014, also in Maguindanao. The April 25 joint operations was aborted when the then commander of the 6th Infantry Division, now retired Major General Romeo Gapus, withdrew his troops from joining in the joint operation because the PNP refused to go through the peace mechanism. And he was thinking that because of this non-coordination through the peace mechanism, it will result into a bigger problem because the MILF communities where the armed men are also present will join the fight, and which is what happened actually in Mamasapano. Now, the June 10 operations is about the 6ID conduct of law enforcement operations against the BIFF who conducted several violent incidents in the area of Maguindanao where they blew several IEDs and attacked the detachments of the armed forces. In these instances, the 6ID commander, now General Pangilinan, requested that they conduct a law enforcement operations to address this problem. And so they conducted a series of combat operations against this group, which resulted to the death of several BIFF members, the capture of several weapons, and several improvised explosive devices. And this was made in coordination with the local Philippine National Police, the PNP Maguindanao, not with the SAP. Director Peñas is correct, not with the SAP because the SAP headquarters is based in Manila. So, on the ground, there are joint operations being conducted as I speak, together with the Philippine National Police. And for the information of the honorable body, I have signed a joint letter directive with the Directorate for Integrated Police Operations in Western Mindanao under Police Director Edgardo Inking on September 9, 2014, clarifying that the mechanism by which we will coordinate all our operations. If there is a law enforcement operation, the AFP will support them. If it is purely military operations, then they will support us in terms of investigation and filing of cases. And this is happening as I speak. Even today, there are operations being conducted jointly by the police and the AFP. So there is no truth to the alleged mistrust between the AFP and PNP units. I think this is just an isolated incident and an issue of operational security, because the AFP itself also faces this challenge, the issue on operational security. Every day we have to contend with various threats, and we have to plan our operations properly so that we will be able to achieve the element of surprise. And this is, I think, the issue being raised by Director Napeñas, Your Honor. And I assure you that we are working together on the ground in Western Mindanao as well as in other areas together with the National Police, Your Honor.
Thank you, General Guerrero. Before the Honorable Abong would continue with his interpretation, may I remind the honorable members of this committee and so with the resource person, kanina kasi sa opening statement ko, nakikiusap po sana ako na wag natin dagdagan yung emotions, na maging emotional tayo. At subukan po natin na maging objective na makatulong sa atin na makakome up ng isang committee reports na kung saan makita natin yung buong problema. But then again, nakikiusap ako sa inyong lahat, iwasan po natin na magkaroon ng emotional na dito sa hearing na ito. Maraming salamat po.
So sinabi ninyo, General Guerrero, na nagkaroon ng mga pangyayari at ngayon inyo nang ginagawa ng pamamaraan na wag nang mangyari yung mga ganyan sa tulad ninyong pagkakaroon ng joint agreement with the integrated police operations. Kay General Espina po, so nakita na natin yung nangyari yan sa Mamasapano, nangyari na rin yan sa iba pang mga pagkakataon. Nung nakita na natin itong mga nangyaring ito, ano yung mga hakbangin na inyo nang ginawa para yung mga nakita nating mga butas na mula sa investigasyon na nakuha ng BOI, may mga hakbang na po ba kayong ginagawa?
Yes, sir.
Pwede pong malaman?
Lahat po ng major operation should be cleared with me. I always compare notes, secondly, with the Armed Forces of the Philippines General Katapang. I take command and control of all major operations. Your Honor. I do not want any more casualties.
Sa atin nung sa OPA po, pwede po bang nakita na natin yan nangyari yan? So nakita na natin doon nagkulang sa, according to sa mga nangyaring inquiry, lumabas na coordination. Pero nawala ng coordination dahil hindi nakipag-coordinate dahil walang trust. Ano? May nakikita tayong mga butas diyan. Baka mamaya pagbaba diyan sa inyo, pag sinabi sa committee, malaman at ng mga MI o malaman ng ibang tao na ma-compromise yung ating operation sa mga highly value targets. Ano ngayon ang mga ginagawa ninyong pamamaraan? Meron ba kayong mga hakbang?
The head of the CCCHO ang sasagot kasi operation.
Sige po, General Galvez. Ano na yung mga nakita na natin yung pangyayaring yan? Napapansin natin na kaya hindi rin masabi sa inyo pati sa peace panel dahil baka mamaya ay sumingaw, malaman ng mga nagtatago dito sa mga high value targets, hindi natin kilala itong pagbaba nitong mga komunikasyon na ito sa baba, malaman ano ngayon yung pamamaraan na ginagawa natin para yung law enforcement natin na isasagawa ng PNP sa iba pa mga high value targets hindi makompromise.
Sir, meron po tayo na degree of operational security na mini-maintain. As we all know, Your Honors, that the primary consideration of the operation is operational security to gain surprise. So sa amin, sa member ng mechanism, we are trying to only limit the information only to the different parties that we really sure that the information will not leak. And also for the purpose of not repeating the Mamasapano incident, we will strengthen the mechanisms through ceasefire on the localized basis wherein the coordination will be done even to the brigade and battalion level. Previously, the MILF only allows coordination through the chairmanship and the CCCH mechanism. But in this case, we have already make some leverage on really making some coordinations through the brigade and the base commanders. We have done that in Basilan, and we have also done that to 602nd Brigade, and we are trying to propagate this new mechanism so that the coordination will be done locally, not centrally. And secondly, we try to have an increased meeting with the tripartite meeting, meaning the AJAG, the CCCH, and the IMT will have regular meeting, and also we have to resolve pressing issues so that the future occurrence of violation will be eliminated. And there are also some other policies that we will try to enhance so that we could eliminate possible lapses like in the Mamasapano incident.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Congressman Abu. Next, Congressman to ask question, Congressman Mangonda Dato. Yes, you may have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Before I will pose my question, Mr. Chair, you may allow me to make a statement as a representative of the 2nd District of Maguindanao.
Please proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
But it will take your time for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, the municipality of Mamasapano, as evidently seen in our map, is situated in the province of Maguindanao, specifically the 2nd District of Maguindanao, which I represent here in the House of Congress. Last January 26, I took my last flight out from Metro Manila to Davao City for a speaking engagement for the following day in one of our town, the province of Maguindanao. And after I delivered my speech, I flew to 6th Infantry Division in Camp Siongco before I take my flight back to Metro Manila from Davao City to pay respect and tribute to our PNP staff. And I would like to thank the Commanding General of the 6th Infantry Division, Major General Edmundo Pangilinan, and the head of the PNP SOCO for allowing me to see for myself the remains of the fallen Special Action Force. Mr. Chair, I wondered and I was saddened, Mr. Chair, as I saw the cadavers of the fallen staff, including their bodies with multiple gunshot wounds, including their heads. And being a member of the Philippine Practical Shooting Association, different gun clubs in our country, ako po ay naniniwala na ang pagbaril sa mga ulo ng ating ilang miyembro ng SAF Commandos ay malapitan po. Subalit, Mr. Chair, ako po ay hindi naniniwala na ang lahat ng may kagagawan ng pagbaril sa ulo ng ating SAF Commandos ay kagagawan lang po ng MILF. Dahil po, taga Maguindanao kami, alam po namin ang sitwasyon, aside from the MILF, aside from the BIFF, JIM, MNLF, meron po ibang grupo, ibang faksyon na tinatawag natin private armed groups. At gusto ko po malaman ngayon, Mr. Chair, kung sino ba ang may control sa private armed groups sa Mamasapano. And gusto ko rin po ipaalam sa ating national government to propose campaign against private armed groups. Last February 14, Mr. Chair, while others celebrating Valentine's Day, I choose to be in Mamasapano to see for myself the encounter site. And Mr. Chair, talagang nakita ko ang area. And as I look around the area, I saw the traces of bullet shots in the bridge. And I presume that the PNP staff were already surrounded by the lawless elements. And on my own assessment, Mr. Chair, as soon as our PNP staff ascending the area, these lawless elements have already prepositioned themselves, cornering our brave policemen. And looking at the traces, Mr. Chair, these brave policemen have no escape out of the area. Now, my first question is direct to General Napeñas. General, based on your short statement stated in the BOI report in page 18, you told the President, and I quote, that with due respect, sir, compromise po ang AFP planning and presentation stages during big operation are compromised. Totoo po ba?
Yes, Your Honor.
So dahil dyan, hindi po kayo nag-coordinate?
Yes, Your Honor. Yung gusto kong klaruhin ulit yung sinabi ni General Guerrero kanina, it's not actually yung mistrust, but it is about yung preparation po ng operation against high-value targets. Na pagka malaki yung preparasyon, sa dami ng nakatanim na kakilala, kaibigan ng mga high-value targets sa PNP, sa amin din meron, at saka sa AFP, sa local government, na kung may ginagawa na preparasyon na operation sa kanila, dumadating yung information sa kanila. I'd like to cite an example, Your Honor, na yung the mere presence ko lang na makita kasama yung deputy ko doon sa South Cotabato area or dyan sa General Santos City, at nakita yan na bumaba kami ng airport or may gamit kami na ibinaba, that would already create an impression or suspicion na mayroon operation sa Special Action Force, at immediately na ipapasa yan doon sa Maguindanao, be it kung ano man ang kasalanan or high value target siya or yung criminal na iba na wanted, na ipapasa agad through text message yan. Alam po din po namin na pag may lumipad na helicopter doon sa Cotabato City, be it engineering, administrative, or operational flight, that information na ipapasa kaagad doon sa Maguindanao. At yung mga high value targets o kung sino man yung mga wanted persons na doon, Your Honor, lilipat lang ng lugar 200 to 300 meters na ibang bahay, hindi mo na makita. I'd like, with the permission ng ating katabi na si Director Magalong, he was once of conducting operations doon sa Maguindanao in 2005. At pare-pareho namin alam na ganun yung ginagawa ng ating mga kababayan doon, na marami silang, yung mga high value targets na ito, marami silang nailagay na nagmo-monitor sa police, sa gobyerno, sa local government, sa military, even us, sa Special Action Force, alam din namin po yan. At yan po ang dahilan, kaya very limited yung nakakaalam dito sa operations na ito kasama na doon sa pagpaplano, Your Honor.
You mean to say, General, including the local police of Maguindanao? Just one more question.
Yes.
Okay. To General Purisima, also in the BOI report in page 25, you texted General Napeñas at about 9:45 in the morning na sinabi nyo na, and I quote, nagbigay ng directive order MILF Central Command. Walang MILF pwede lumapit sa ongoing PNP operation in Mamasapano. Yung nag-resist, mga tao ni Muhammad Dali Tampato and Basit Guzman with wanted politician, sir. Who is this wanted politician? And before anything else, Mr. Chair, I would like to make a reference in the initial report of the BOI. Kung pwede ba may turo kung sino tong tao na to sa picture, kung ito ba membro ng SAF or civilian ba, para malaman natin. Kasi I have a picture of this guy. General.
Your Honor, Mr. Chair, the information came from one of the MILF members whom I have contacts with, and I was actually looking for ways to end the participation of MILF. Although what had been transpired is not totally believable, because the attack was continuing, and we're just appealing to them, to the MILF, that the SAF members are in the area. That is to inform them that they are in the area and they are policemen and they are not going after MILF elements.
So you're not sure kung sino tong wanted politician na tinutukoy ninyo? Kasi, Mr. Chair, ang alam ko lang po na isa sa wanted politicians na involved in the massacre case ay yung kapatid ng mayor ng Mamasapano, si Bandarin Ampatuan, and the former mayor of the Dato Saudi Ampatuan Municipality. Yan po ang alam ko dito. And General Napeñas, can you identify this picture?
Your time is up. Congressman Maunat. Next, what is the... Okay.
Who can answer the last question that was being asked by the Honorable Manguda Dato among the PNP officers? What is the question of the Honorable Manguda Dato?
My last question, Mr. Chair, is regarding the picture in the initial report of the BOI.
The last questions that you raise is the name of those politicians which the general failed to answer. Can you please repeat the name of those that had been mentioned?
Yes, Mr. Chair, ang alam ko lang po na wanted politicians na involved in the Maguindanao Massacre case ay yung dating mayor ng municipality of Datu Saudi and the brother of the mayor of Mamasapano, which is the Datu Banarin Apatuan, Mr. Chair.
So, is there anybody who would like to answer that, or?
Your Honor.
Yes,
Mr.
General
Chair.
Purisima.
With reference to the person who was that politician, I'm not privy to the person being alluded to by the person who texted me. Because what I relate to Police Director Peñas through text is the text message also of that person, that MILF member. So I just relayed what he texted me to Police Director Peñas. So he was not, he did not, I did not know kung sino po yung talagang wanted politician na pinabanggit po niya, Your Honor.
Thank you, General Purisima. Thank you, Honorable Manguda Dato. Before I recognize the next interpolator, may I recognize Representative Ashley Asedillo of the Magdalo.
Mr. Chair.
May I recognize the
Mr. Chair.
Honorable yes, General Nepeñas.
Yes, sir, Your Honor. Thank you very much. May I make a manifestation regarding the identity of the pictures shown to me by Honorable Manguda Dato. May we be given the opportunity na makita yan kasama yung taga 55 Special Action Company. Kung doon nga sa area ng 55 SAP, yung picture na yan nakunan, para sa ganun ma-identify po natin yan kung police or hindi. Maraming salamat po, Your Honor.
Thank you. And may also the chairman of the Board of Inquiry also to look, identify this picture.
Okay, while the chairman of the BOI is looking at the picture, may we now proceed with the next interpolator, the Honorable Congresswoman Sandra Sema. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Assalamualaikum. Peace be upon you. To General Napeñas. Naririnig po natin, O-plan. Meron po bang O-board?
Yung O-plan po, Your Honor, pag in-execute niyan, will automatically magiging operation order po, Your Honor.
So meron pong O-board?
Meron po, Your Honor, yung papel na naka-discuss, naka-detalyado. Pero yung nga sinabi ko, Your Honor, the O-plan na pre-prepare, once it is executed, it will become automatically an operation order.
Kayo po yung approving superior ng O-board?
Opo, Your Honor, ako pumirma dun sa operation order. Yung O-plan na na-approve na, yun naging operation order na, Your Honor.
Ano po yung task organization ng 392?
Your Honor, if may be allowed na tignan na lang. Meron po yung commander, ako po yung commander, meron yung deputy, meron yung ground commander who is the 4th Special Action Battalion Commander. Meron yung kumpanya niya, kasama po yung 84th Special Action Company at 55th Special Action Company. Yun po yung under niya lahat at kasama po yung Light Armor Unit at yun ang nagtototal ng tao na 392, Your Honor.
Salamat po. Meron din pong reinforcement plan na sinasabi.
Meron po, Your Honor.
Nagawa po yan?
Nagawa po pero hindi na i-deploy lahat dahil nagkaroon na rin ng threat. Yung reinforcing troops kasi, Your Honor, manggagaling doon sa Maguindanao Police Provincial Office, Sharif Agwak. Hindi po na i-deploy lahat kadahilanan na nagkaroon na impormasyon na mayroon na rin threat doon sa lugar namin that time, kaya hindi na i-deploy lahat sila, Your Honor.
Katulad po ni Congressman Manguda Dato ng 2nd District of Maguindanao, magkasama po kami nung pumunta kami doon. At nilakad po namin galing sa highway no, doon sa may Mamasapano, yung area kung saan nandoon yung bridge. At ito po ay mga 800 meters lang. Ang pinagtataka po namin kung merong reinforcement plan, ano po yung ginagawa nung 310 na SAF at hindi po ito nakapag-responde agad sa kanilang mga kasama?
Makikita na po natin dito sa BOI report, Your Honor, na nag-joint yung 45th Special Action Company at saka yung Division Reconnaissance Company ng umaga pa lang. At sinikap nila na pupunta at reinforcean yung 55th Special Action Company. Kaya lang hindi sila makapasok sa heavy volume of fire at dadaanan nila yung open field. Yung tinatanong niyo po, Your Honor, kung nasan yung 300, magkakasunod po sila na i-approach at re-reinforce ang 55th Special Action Company. Yun nga lang, hindi sila makapenetrate. At kung papasahin ko yung report ng BOI na nasa page 30, basahin ko po, Your Honor. 3 team leaders of the Special Action Force overheard that the AFP 62nd Division Reconnaissance Company was calling his unit asking for artillery support. Kasi magkakasama na po sila dito na sinisikap nilang pumasok at ma-reinforcean yung 55th SAP. Nasa paragraph po to, Your Honor. According to the sworn statement of the witnesses, the request of the team leader was turned down because there was no prior coordination made by SAF, and the peace negotiator, international monitoring team, will be arriving. Dito po makikita, Your Honor, na nag-joint na po yung Army at saka yung Special Action Force na sunod-sunod na pupuntahan nila, na reinforcean nila yung 55th Special Action Company na napapalibutan. At yun nga lang, kung nakita nyo po siguro, Your Honor, yung approach na papunta doon na manggagaling dito sa baba, Tuka, open field po, Your Honor, kaya hindi sila nakarating.
Mr. Chair.
Yung
Isang question lang.
Please observe ground rules that have been established. Any interruption will not be entertained unless otherwise the first is the time that had been allocated to the speaker had been consumed, and second, unless otherwise he or she is being recognized by the chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Panghuli na lang po kay Director Napeñas. Alam po ninyong merong ceasefire agreement ang government pati ang MILF po.
Yes, Your Honor.
At yung pong mission nyo ay napaka-importante din.
Yes, Your Honor.
At naisip nyo po ba na kapag nabulilyaso o hindi naging successful yung inyong gagawin, meron pang mga ibang mga collateral damage ang maapektuhan ng operasyong ito?
Maaari po mangyari yan, Your Honor. Pero yung pagplano ng operasyon na ito, kung makikita nyo yung dadaanan ng tropa namin, malayo po doon sa kabahayan ng MILF communities. Kaya yung sinasabi ng report ng IMT na nagdepensa lamang po sila. Kung makita nyo kung gaano kalayo yung tulay doon sa community nila, sino po ba ang lumapit? Is it the Special Action Force doon sa lugar ng MILF, or yung MILF ang pumunta, pinuntahan at pinutukan yung mga Special Action Force? That is the precise reason, Your Honor, that yung plano ay inilayo namin doon, dadaanan ng Special Action Force na papunta doon sa target. Inilayo namin at siniguro namin na iiwasan nila yung kabahayan. Para sa ganon, maiwasan yung makompromise at saka magkaroon ng inkwentro pagpasok pa lang at maiwasan yung collateral damage na sinasabi, Your Honor. Yun na rin ang kadahilanan dahil hindi na compromise pagpasok hanggang marating nila yung target. Doon na sorpresa yung grupo ni Marwan. Yun nga lang, pumutok yung IED, kaya nagising na sila. That is the key to the success of the mission, Your Honor. Sinasabi nyo na importante itong mission na ito. Dahil in the previous operations na ginawa po namin, nako-compromise pagpasok pa lang. So ito, ginamot namin yung compromise na hindi dapat matiktikan, malaman ng civilian man, o MILF, or police, or even yung army, para sa ganun, kasi pag ma-checkpoint ka ng MILF or army, yung pagpasok pa lang sa Mamasapano po, Your Honor, alam nyo naman siguro yon, galing ng Sheriff Agwak. May checkpoint na ng MILF doon, may checkpoint din ng army sa gabi. Pag na-checkpoint yung tao namin ng MILF, sigurado yan, maipapasa na yung impormasyon doon sa high value targets. So yun po lahat, ginamot namin na walang compromise hanggang makarating yung 84th SAC doon sa target at nagawa po. At yun po ang naging key to the success of the mission, Your Honor.
Binabanggit ko lang po yon, Mr. Chairman, para maklaro natin na sa pagpa-planning ho natin, hindi lang yung main target ang tinitingnan natin, kung hindi, ano pa ang ibang maging impact nitong ating mga ginagawa. And Mr. Chairman, with your indulgence, I only have one question for General Katapang and one question for Secretary Deles.
Okay, last two questions.
Kay General Katapang, nagkaroon po kayo ng all-out offensive sa area. At sa ngayon, merong 125,000 civilians that are now suffering in the tents, in the evacuation centers. Hanggang kailan po ba itong inyong operation at ano po yung gagawin natin sa mga civilian na sa ngayon na hindi pa rin nakakabalik at hindi pa rin nakaka-resume sa normal na buhay nila?
Mr. Chairman, Your Honors, with the permission of my Secretary, Madam, it is indeed unfortunate that we have to launch this all-out offensive inasmuch as the people are being disturbed by the BIFF and also the MILF. They are fighting each other. And even if there is already a disturbance of people going to the evacuation center. So we launched this for starting 27 February up to 1 week ago, and we already stopped the all-out offensive, Your Honor. But we will continue with our job. Our marching orders from the President is to hunt Usman and other high-value terrorists, and also to decimate the BIFF, which substantially we have attrited them. Right now, the evacuees have reached up to 125,000. And as of 2 April, there are only 63. Right after this session, I, together with Governor Hataman, will go to the area and assure them, we will personally go there and assure them that they will have to be secured and they will go back to their houses. What we are saying is that inside the box, we have already soldiers in the area and also immediately outside the box. So, Your Honor, it is indeed regrettable, and we ask for your kind indulgence. We are doing this just to ensure that we will have a permanent peace in the area. And right now, we are authorized also, we have been authorized by the President to conduct peace and development projects. Initially, the President has approved 67 million worth of projects to include the Bridge of Peace of the Mamasapano Bridge. But we will also, in the long term, we have identified about 1 billion worth of projects in the area. Because in order to have peace, there must be progress. And in order to have progress, and if there will be progress, there should also be prosperity for all. We assure you that we will not leave anymore the area, and in exchange of the inconvenience that our Muslim brothers and sisters experience, we will deliver peace and development projects in the area, Your Honor.
Last question.
Yes,
the
for
Honorable
Secretary Deles, we know your work is hard, and we know the work of peace is hard, and but we have to answer hard questions. One of these is that with an operation like that, not only were the widows or the family of the staff were grieving, but also the people who become collateral damage to that action. I would like to ask if this government is also planning to indemnify or help the people who are affected by this fiasco, who are affected by this operation. Those people that were affected have nothing to do with what happened, but they become collateral damage. They become homeless. And I would like to thank General Katapang for suspending for 3 days at least the operation in order for our students in that area to be able to graduate. But I think it's more, it's better for us to finally come up with that peace. But in the meantime, what are we going to do with those people that were left homeless by this fiasco?
Yes, Your Honor, that is certainly a concern. And the ARM regional government is on the front line of this. And together with AFP have done an assessment of what is needed. That was the reference, Your Honor, about the funding that is now being arranged to be able to look at infrastructure, schools, and whatever else is needed in the area. We had a discussion in the security cluster yesterday that they should certainly be prioritized and to make sure that as much of this is finished within the summer months. With regard individual needs, Your Honor, I think this will be part when the families, as the families begin to return, to be able to identify. This has happened in other areas, Your Honor. For example, in Sulu, when there was such a displacement, that provisions for shelter have also been provided. I think we will. The initial assessment has been done of the needs in the community, but certainly as the families go back, and this will include several days of subsistence, that other needs will be identified and that all of government will be looking into where these are, how we can address these needs, including whatever funds also that we may have for normalization, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Sama. Thank you, Secretary King Deles. Before I will recognize the next interpolator, let me acknowledge the presence of Representative Francisco Calalay Jr. And next to ask question is Representative Isagani Amatong, who is not here, I think. The next is Representative Emil Ong. Representative Arthur Yap. Representative Nancy Katamco.